Hi, Daddy. This came in the mail for you. You should open it.
Okay. That's awesome. I got that. Can I get a hug? That's awesome. Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Cindy from New Jersey asks,
Is that my mom?
how does it feel to be inducted into the Hall of Fame on your first year of eligibility?
Wait, what?
How does it feel being inducted into the National Soccer Hall of Fame? So proud of you. Such an incredible honor.
That was created here. So I am so proud of that.
What? Oh my gosh. Did you give me this? Did you give me this? Guys, give Mommy a hug.
Honored, surprised. I put a lot of hard work into this, but I had a lot of support. I appreciate everybody.
She is truly a legend of the game. Because she's a legend, her name is going to be with the rest of the legends. Welcome to the National Soccer Hall of Fame, class of 2026.
How are you, my friend? Well, let's have a little bit of fun. When you're 5-time Defender of the Year, 7 championships, national team, Olympic team, I get the honor of letting you know, my friend, that you're a Hall of Famer. You're a part of the 2026 class of Hall of Fame. Woo!
All right, Frisco, how we doing tonight? Well, we're gonna have to do a little bit better than that. Good evening, my name is Rob Stone from Fox Sports. Please hold your applause. Excellent job, you guys nailed your first task. Nobody applauded for me. Great, good start. All right, good evening, and as we said, welcome to Frisco, Texas, the home of this wonderful facility, the U.S. Soccer home. Yeah, it is time for the 2026 National Soccer Hall of Fame induction ceremony. This is, I'm being told, the biggest crowd we have ever had here in Frisco for the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Yeah, it is packed. It is beautiful. So many legends here. I always think it's important to kind of read the room. kind of figure out what we're dealing with tonight. So raise your hand if you were here last year for the Hall of Fame. All right, a lot of good hands here. It was an early edition, right? It was kind of like a mimosa Hall of Fame. And I'm sure you guys have been following the World Cup headlines. Tailgating's back, right, for the World Cup. There's other headlines, but yeah, we're gonna tailgate here. And it's like dusk is coming in here, which means, maybe there's been some pre-gaming. I don't know. Have we done some pre-gaming here? We're gonna find out. I'm curious here. Number one, we've got two wonderful journalists that are gonna be honored here as well. Bob Lee, Stephen Goff over there. And, one of the, oh, you applaud them, huh? Got it. All right, I'm reading the room right now. This is great. So Bob and Stephen know this golden rule in our profession. There's no cheering in the press box, right? So we have to be muted. We have to do our job, keep a level head. But on the field, in the stands, hell yeah, we can cheer. So I'm curious, if you're here for Kevin Crowe, if you're here for Kevin, can I hear you? Okay, the bar has been set. You know what? I'm going to give him one more try. If you're here for Team Kevin Crowe, can I hear it, please? There we go. All right. If you're here for Carrie Seitz, you're noticing a trend, aren't you? All right. Team Chris Wondolowski. Team Tobin. You know who's on the clock right now, right? Where's my Minnesota people? Team Tony Sanneh. Notice their position to the bar right over there. Like, just like a quick couple dribbles right to the bar. And Team Sanneh's on fire right now. So this may shock nobody. I did not go to law school, but I did hear that if you're a good lawyer, you only ask the questions that you know the answers to. I knew who to end up with, Team Tony Sanneh over there, still celebrating the Timberwolves' victory from last night. This is awesome. I got all kinds of people fired up and yelling at me. This is great. I don't even know what half of you were saying, but that's good. Be angry. What do you want, H.O.? You'll have your time, Heather. What do you want, Heather? You want to come up now? We got plenty of great people to talk to. Hold your horses there, H.O. Seen you at the gym at 7 a.m. Like nothing has changed. All right, so everybody, thank you. Thank you for attending. Love all the guests being here. Love this energy. And thank you, everybody at FC Dallas, Major League Soccer, the U.S. Soccer Federation, and of course, the great people here in Frisco that are part of the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Those of you who are here as well just to support the beautiful game, and those of you who are tuning in live to watch from across the country. All right, we're going to begin by welcoming one of my favorite human beings on the face of the earth. She looks so good in her red jacket. Class of 2018 National Soccer Hall of Famer, Madam President, U.S. Soccer President, Cindy Parlow Code.
All right, since I believe Rob left out Heather O'Reilly's family to cheer, let's hear it for
Shit! Fuck, how did I miss Heather? It was by plan. If you're here for Team Heather O'Reilly, let's hear it. You're welcome. If you're here for Team Tony Sanneh, let's hear it. O'Reilly! Madam President.
All right, that's the mood I like. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for being here today. I look forward to this event every year as we celebrate those who have given so much to the game. And speaking of people who have given so much to the game, I want to thank Clark and Dan Hunt and the entire Hunt family for, look at this venue. How amazing is this? Thank you. And to all of the Hall of Famers who are here with us tonight, thank you for everything you've done for soccer in this country. It is such an honor to be able to wear this red blazer, and Rob, thank you for telling me I look good in it. Each of the Hall of Famers have left a lasting mark on our sport. And what I love about this induction class is how it showcases the different ways people shape and impact the sport. From those who demonstrated excellence at the highest level on the field, to those that helped build foundations so others could stand on their shoulders, to those who continue to help drive the growth of the sport on and off the field. So Tobin, Heather, Chris, Tony, Kevin, Carrie, Bob, and Steve. Collectively, this class represents so much of what makes our sport special. Congratulations on this well-deserved honor, and thank you all for being here.
Once again, Heather O'Reilly, everybody. Over here. So screwed. I can't believe I did that. Like, Heather, I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you at some point later. All right, CP, thank you. I appreciate it. Yes, I still call you CP. I'm sorry. You will always be CP to so many people in this room. You touched on the Hunt family. They have been leaders in the development of not only teams and leagues, but also facilities, including some of Major League Soccer's first soccer-specific stadiums, of course, Columbus, Ohio, right here in Frisco, Texas as well. The previous round of renovations here in Frisco created where you're sitting right now, the home of the beautiful National Soccer Hall of Fame. The Hunts are once again in the process of making important upgrades that will maintain Toyota Stadium as one of the marquee venues in American soccer. You see all the work over there to my left, probably to your right. It looks fantastic, and I cannot wait for the Hunts to open it up. So please welcome our host, FC Dallas Chairman, CEO Clark Hunt, and FC Dallas President Dan Hunt.
Rob, thank you very much. And before I go any further, how about a round of applause for Rob? Yeah.
Do it one more time, please.
Yeah. A little louder.
Heather O'Reilly, everybody. Heather O'Reilly.
Dan and I are delighted to welcome everybody to Frisco, Texas, and the National Soccer Hall of Fame. We have a very special night ahead of us as we celebrate some of the best players to ever play the game. For my brother and I, this ceremony always reminds us of our dad. More than 60 years ago, Lamar Hunt watched his first soccer game, and from that moment, he envisioned bringing the game to America and filling our biggest stadiums with passionate fans. The return of the World Cup to the United States this summer would make him so excited and so proud. Just like 1994 was an inflection point for the game in the United States, I am convinced that 2026 will help soccer achieve its full potential in this country. And we will look back at this Hall of Fame class and say that they helped elevate the game to new heights. The numbers in this group are absolutely staggering. More than 500 international caps, 3 World Cup titles, 5 Olympic gold medals, 2 MLS Cups, 2 Lamar Hunt Open Cups, 3 titles in the top women's leagues, and 7 in the indoor game. Of course, not to mention Carrie's work on the pitch, Stephen's work as a writer, and Barb's work in the broadcast booth. This is a remarkable class. Each of you has impacted the sport in your own way, and each of you has helped the sport to this seminal moment in 2026. We hope you enjoy tonight, and we hope you enjoy this very special year for soccer in the United States.
Yeah, well, a quick welcome and a spoiler alert. Every time Clark and I talk, we get up and say exactly the same thing. So I'm going to get your time back today, but I have a lot of thank yous to say. First to U.S. Soccer, the city of Frisco and its entities, FISD, legends, and Jordan, where are you? Let's give it up for everybody. Thank you. Your efforts make this happen. And to Tobin and Heather, thank you for truly being the gold standard. And all you have to do is look at that trophy case and see what the gold standard really is. So thank you for your greatness. To Tony and Chris, thank you for great memories, except when you played FC Dallas. They weren't so great. And Tony, where are you? I heard you sold 108 tickets. I have a ticket sales job at FC Dallas for you. Please meet me after. To Kevin and Carrie, thank you for your contributions. And Kevin, this is a tough one because I grew up a Dallas Sidekicks fan and you are our nemesis. But congratulations. And Carrie, I'll say this, I have a difficult relationship with refs, but welcome home. And to Stephen and Bob, thank you both for great storytelling and bringing the game to our fans and making them part of it. So congratulations to you all. This is a legendary class. Thank you for everything that you've done for the game of soccer. And to all of you, welcome home. Thank you.
Clark, Dan, thank you guys very much. Dan, bonus points for the Stan Smiths tonight. Well done. Taking care of one of our suppliers out here as well. Our guests of honor tonight, though, are, of course, our newest honorees, which includes Heather O'Reilly. Today's celebration also, though, recognizes the legacy of the individuals whose names are already in the rafters wrapping around your meal tonight here in this beautiful facility. Tonight, we welcome the returning members, though, of the National Soccer Hall of Fame and past Colin Joe's Media Award recipients. So I'm going to ask that each of you stand up and be recognized as I say your name. Our audience, please hold your applause till the end. This is always one of my favorite parts. So from the class of 2003, Ted Howard. From the class of 2008, I see you right there, Anson, with the hat, Anson Dorrance. From the class of 2017, the good doctor, Dr. Joe Macknick. From the class of 2018, CP, Cindy Parlow-Cohn. From the class of 2022, Essie Baharmas. From the class of 2025, we were here with her last year. Her name is right there, Mary Harvey. Come on up. And the 2005 Colin Joe's Media Award winner, all the way in the corner, sitting at my table, the great Seamus Mallon. All of you, welcome back, and thank you for everything you've done for soccer. Because I have control of the microphone, I get to do what I want to do when I am up here, so I want to do something right now. Dr. Joe, stand up, brother. Barbara Macknick, stand up. 61st wedding anniversary tonight, folks. The big 6-1. You made it, Barbara. You made it. Joe really knows how to show a lady a good time. You're the best, doctor. Love you. All right. Since last year's induction ceremony, our Hall of Fame family lost one legend that contributed his time and his talents to grow the game. Lloyd Monson was a player for the U.S. men's national team, star of the American Soccer League, and 1954 U.S. Open Cup champion with the New York Americans. His U.S. Olympic white jersey is just behind you right now in that room back there as we take a moment now to reflect on Lloyd's legacy. All right. Let's move on. Here we go. The National Soccer Hall of Fame presents the Colin Joe's Media Award to honor the contributions of members of the media or other communication professionals who specialize in the sport of soccer. Back in the day, there were not many of these people. It has grown substantially. Because of an untimely, we're going to call it a lower body injury, but according to my sources, it's a lower leg injury that was suffered just days before last year's ceremony. This year, we get not one, but two media members whose dedicated coverage over decades brought the game forward in the American psyche, all while providing a deeper understanding of our sport. I'm a studio host myself sometimes, and it is a distinct privilege to honor an individual who blazed the trail for how soccer was presented on television in the United States. This one is personal for me. Someone whose voice became synonymous with the global game in America. A storyteller who brought the world's sport into our living rooms with clarity, integrity, professionalism, intelligence, and passion. Returning from his time on the injury list, we are pleased to finally recognize 2025 Colin Joe's Media Award winner, the General, Bob Lee. Now, long before becoming a staple, you'll get your chance to applause, don't worry, I'm not gonna deny you that. Long before becoming a staple of ESPN's flagship programming, Bob was the manager. Is this right? You were the manager of your high school soccer team and wrote about the team for your school newspaper. What was the name of that newspaper? Attaboy. Student Prince? I love it. All right, he was a New York Cosmos season ticket holder, later became their public address announcer. We go back to 1979. Bob made a move that would define his career. Frankly, it would define a media outlet as well, as he joined this startup, this brand new sports network, just 3 days after it launched. I don't know, he took a flyer on this thing called ESPN. And at ESPN in 1989, it was Bob who told the world that the U.S. men's national team had qualified for its first World Cup in 40 years with that historic 1-0 win at Trinidad and Tobago. In his 40-year run with the network, Bob played a role in covering 10 men's and women's FIFA World Cups between 82 and 2015, served as the studio host for the network's coverage of the 2010 and 2014 Men's World Cup, also the 2011 Women's World Cup, as well as the 2012 and 2016 European Championships. From anchoring those broadcasts to guiding thoughtful conversations about the game's growth, its challenges, and its triumphs, Bob didn't just report on soccer, he elevated it. He lived it, he breathed it, he cared about it. His work, it went beyond highlights, it went far beyond scores. Using the credibility that he gained through his years of elite reporting at ESPN, he brought a proper context and certainly a respect to a sport that millions love worldwide, but maybe here in the United States, they didn't quite have the appreciation for it. Well, he helped this American audience understand its beauty and understand its significance as well. Through his steady presence, his journalistic excellence, he earned the trust of fans, players, and absolutely his peers as well. Let's take a look at more on the legendary career of the General, Bob Lee.
When Bob Lee joined ESPN on day 3 in 1979, he covered every sport under the sun. But during his illustrious 40-year career, where he helped build ESPN into the giant it is today, Bob always made time for the sport he loved most, soccer.
A night of history in Mexico City, 75 years of frustration ending for the U.S. national team with Casey Keller and Alexi Lawless. I'm Bob Lee.
He was there from the beginning, covering NASL, the Cosmos, and the legendary Pelé. And he was there in 1989 to make sure America knew about one of the most important moments in the sport's still early beginnings.
And welcome to SportsCenter. I'm Bob Lee. Minutes from now, prime time with all the National Football League news. We've got football news. We call it soccer. The rest of the world calls it football. And the entire world was watching today as the USA visited Port of Spain, Trinidad, to contest the last spot in the field of 24 for the 1990 World Cup in Italy. It was quite simply the most important soccer match the U.S. has played for the last 2 generations.
As Bob's legend grew at ESPN,
they are making it up as they go along.
He became one of the best to ever grace our TV screens.
Paul Caligiuri, and look at this gentle shot. Puts it onto his left foot and lifts it in. And the USA on top, 1-0. There weren't many U.S. fans there, but those that were in attendance were delirious.
To put it simply, if Bob Lee was covering your sport, you were legit. You were big time.
Incredible for the United States. Incredible for the United States.
And, luckily for us, he was on the mic for memorable moments.
Ernie's back on it. Moore makes a run. Stewart on the ball. Leaves it. Shot and a goal! And a goal over Argentina! Joe Max Moore! On his patented left foot, cuts it back to his right. With a low cross in front. Balboa plays it back to shot. Ramos, goal!
What a shot by Tab Ramos, and what great play by Preki.
And the World Cup was Bob's favorite stage.
The premier edition of World Cup Prime Time. This is the place to come throughout the entire month of FIFA World Cup 2010. Extended highlights of all the matches. And now let's meet the people and the stories here in the Republic of South Africa. I'm Bob Lee.
Across 10 World Cups, men's and women's, he didn't just call the action. He told the stories behind it.
In just over 3 months, the sporting passions of the entire nation will be focused here on the very first World Cup to be held on the African continent.
The triumphs, the struggles, the humanity. On the field or off it, Bob gave the game the respect it deserved.
The USA are through. It's back to a smiling Bob, I'm sure.
Oh, I will tell you, Ian, from out of the World Cup to winning the group.
And it didn't matter what the conditions were.
What's all this stuff going to mean tonight? Well, you're going to see something interesting. I don't know if it's going to be a soccer game.
Bob was going to be there. Bob Lee didn't just chronicle the rise of soccer. He lifted it. He elevated it to its proper place with every other sport in America.
Counting the 1950 World Cup and all the World Cup qualification matches the Brazil national team have ever played here at home, 52 games, and all those 52 games simply one loss. But that one loss was 64 years ago, about 9 miles in that direction at Maracanã. That one loss that still scars the national psyche.
And in doing so, helped the nation fall in love with the beautiful game. And in 2025, Bob Lee was selected as the winner of the Colin Jost Media Award.
There is a lot to celebrate tonight. We trust we will do it properly.
National Soccer Hall of Famer Alexi Lawless with the good read on that piece. Please welcome to the stage Bob Lee to accept the 2025 Colin Jost Media Award.
And so ends the longest injury stoppage in football history. Wow, that video. Whew. Thank you for your patience, and most importantly, thank you to the Hall, to the electors, to all at U.S. Soccer and the Hall of Fame who have made this evening possible. I am absolutely overwhelmed by the company that I am joining. It is a remarkable, remarkable team picture. And to do so in a World Cup year. The World Cup is back here. Remember, for those of us old enough to remember back in '94, it's quite something to do it now. I could not have known when I first stood on a touchline, Rob, it was in high school, Brookdale Park, Bloomfield, New Jersey. We would play Kearney and Columbia High twice a year in our conference. 1970, it hurts to do the math, but it was 56 years ago, that this game would capture my heart and literally take me around the world. That in the late 70s, as you saw there and Rob referenced, would take me from section 134 as a Cosmos season ticket holder, right on the 18, where you could watch Carlos Alberto from 10 yards away. But took me up to the press box the next year as the public address announcer. In those days, the Cosmos crowds of 78,000. And I would introduce Pelé, Beckenbauer, Carlos Alberto, and yes, even Bugs Bunny. True story. This game would take me to Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, 30 years ago, when a soccer match with the San Francisco Bay Seals would result in the first sanctioned display of the United States flag in that country since the war had ended a generation earlier. It would take me to Lyon, France in '98, that politically charged, remember that World Cup match, the USA and Iran? The day of the match, I went out for a walk and I found myself among the Iranian fans who had gathered en masse before the game against the great Satan, and their rally was at the local McDonald's. I have been privileged to witness 5 World Cup finals in the flesh, yet I recall with wonder a pickup match under a bridge by the River Main in Frankfurt, Germany in 2011. A group of German kids to this day don't understand who these women were scrimmaging against. They were 6 World Cup champions playing these kids. I still have the team picture. They still don't know who they played that day. I would think of a quiet dinner just on the eve of that World Cup in Berlin. It was a dinner for just 4 of us, and I had the God-given good sense to shut the heck up and listen as Brandy, Mia, and Julie were trading stories. I remember a charged phone call from my executive producer in 2014. I'm sitting at my home office in Connecticut. Phone rings, pick it up. I need you on a plane to Cyprus ASAP. Well, if you remember 2014, the Russians had begun shelling in eastern Ukraine, the city of Kharkiv. We were supposed to play a friendly there. They were moving it to Cyprus, and 30 hours later, there I was, standing on the island of Cyprus off the coast of Syria. Standing in the open-air TV booth, you had a glimpse of it there with Alexi and Casey at Estadio Azteca back in 2012. The USA's first ever win at that great venue, doing our closing stand-up. This was a bone-dry night in Mexico City. 0% humidity at altitude, no moisture anywhere. We did that stand-up under an umbrella, hoping that that yellow liquid being thrown at us was cerveza. If you know, you know. The press row at that stadium outside Pretoria, South Africa, where there are 2 TV booths, each labeled, one for English, the other Zulu. And if you're wondering, a goal call in Zulu is La Duma, it has thundered, which calls to mind the greatest production I've ever been associated with, our coverage, and you saw a little bit of it there in the tape, of the 2010 World Cup in South Africa. And I say this with the greatest respect and admiration for our colleagues across the industry, but with the changes in technology and finance and economics, nobody will ever match what ESPN did with the coverage of that cup. I spent the better part, thank you. You're applauding about 300 people who spent 6 weeks in country. And I spent the better part of 3 months, over 2 years in that country. Football, just a very small part of that experience. How else could I be sitting knee to knee in Cape Town with a Nobel Peace Prize recipient and then have to respectfully ask Archbishop Desmond Tutu, Bishop, could you remove your makarapa? That's the helmet that all the South African fans, so we can get the lighting right. There was that night in Rio, sitting by my colleague Gilberto Silva, 2002 Brazilian World Cup champion, and Michael Ballack, a brash and proud German. Germany that night, you remember that semifinal, humbling Brazil 7-1, and Michael showed his class after each of the many German goals. He left the room to exult in private rather than celebrate in front of his friend and colleague, a real class move. And I think of rolling down the Autobahn from city to city in Germany, spending a World Cup summer with Brandy Chastain and Tony DeCicco, rest his soul. We passed my phone around the bus that day so we could each talk on the radio with Giorgio Chinelia back here in the States. But the thread that binds all of this together is the pride I would feel every time we broadcast a national team match, to stand for the anthem, to realize you were privileged to call your country's game, from long ago barely remembered friendlies to World Cup knockouts. Always there was a sense of mission among the players, the coaches, the staff, and yes, the media. We didn't necessarily cheer, but we knew that with the fans, and especially the fans, if we all did our job, we were watching something unique, turn it up to 11, eventually others would awaken and buy in and appreciate the game. And they have, as they will this summer. I'd like to add my congratulations to the inductees this evening, and Stephen, who will be up here momentarily. What a team picture to stand in. I am humbled to receive this recognition, and I thank all the men and women I have worked with literally across the country and around the world over the last 30 or 40 years. I'm privileged and thrilled tonight to be joined by my great good friend and former broadcast colleague, Seamus Mallon, who you met earlier, your MC, and my colleague for years, Rob Stone, who I will introduce to decaf. Maybe Heather O'Reilly could do that. My nephew Patrick is here. He lives locally. I'm so happy to have him here. My good friend and MISL legend. Ask him, he'll tell you, Kevin Flynn. My best friend Barb, my wife of 46 years at the last moment, was unable to join us, but I assure you, from all of us in our family, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for this great honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Hey, yo, what's this decaf he talks of? I have no clue what that is. No idea. Just give me one brief Bob Lee story, and then we'll get moving on. For those who don't know my story, I grew up in Connecticut. I was a soccer player. And my first real job was at ESPN. I was a production assistant. I was working Sports Center, 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. shift. I know, right? Pretty good. And what I wanted to do was be Bob. And I would watch him, and I would follow his antics, and I would do anything I could to help Bob or some of the other amazing talents that were in that newsroom at that time. I mean, Bob, you think about it. I mean, it was a Hall of Fame newsroom. You are a first ballot ESPN Hall of Famer. I don't know if they have a Hall of Fame. They should. You would go in on day one. But I was just this little punk trying to just learn the business and do things. I went away. I was fortunate to come back to ESPN in '97. I was extra fortunate to work with Seamus and Bob covering World Cup '98. World Cup ended. I come back. I'm back to my humble roots, just kind of grinding and whatever. I brought my parents in on a tour. I don't know if Bob remembers this. I brought my parents in one day to Bristol, Connecticut, and just, I kind of showed them the newsroom, and I was kind of tiptoeing in quiet, like, all right, this is where they do this, and they do that, and here's this, and the highlights, and this, and Bob comes up out of nowhere and just embraces my parents. I'm sorry, I'm not an emotional guy. This one just hit me. And he just had the highest level of praise for what I did at World Cup '98, and it completely validated me, and my parents were broken, and I'm sitting there just looking at an absolute legend praising me. And Bob, that has never left me. So thank you. Thank you so much for that. All right. Nobody gives about my little teary-eyed story. So let's bring Goff. You're on the clock. You ready, Stephen Goff, for this? So Bob Lee killed it with the prompter. Stephen Goff's a writer. He doesn't need no stinking prompter, right? For more than 3 decades, Stephen Goff has been one of the most trusted voices covering the game in the United States. Through his dedicated work, he set lofty standards for quality and consistency, which helped turn the Washington Post into one of the most reliable sources for soccer news in America. From his start, covering the collegiate game back in 1987 to those early days of Major League Soccer, where he attended the league's first ever match and has provided coverage of the league and DC United for more than 30 years, to his in-depth reporting on the U.S. men's and women's national teams, Stephen has been there every step of the way, capturing the moments that shaped the sport's trajectory in this country. If soccer was important on that day in the United States, Stephen Goff was going to be there. I guarantee you. And I would find him and I would see him. His stats, they pop. Ready for this? This summer, Stephen will cover his 15th FIFA World Cup. It's a run that began with his first assignment right here on U.S. soil, 1994. He has worked 350 men's and women's national team matches. That includes 99 men's World Cup qualifying contests. Who's tracking these numbers? Is that you, Goff? You're in charge of that? So, all right, not a lot of double checking. All right, 25 MLS Cups he's covered, 5 NWSL championships, 20 NCAA College Cups, and he's reported on the game from over 30 countries, all while bringing fans closer to the game with accuracy, with fairness, and a deep understanding of soccer's global and certainly its local impact. But what truly sets Stephen apart is his commitment to the story that's behind the story, the players, the culture, and the evolution that we have all witnessed of this sport here in the United States. His reporting has informed generations of fans and helped legitimize soccer coverage in mainstream American media, much like Bob Lee did as well. In many ways, Stephen Goff didn't just cover the growth of soccer in America, he absolutely helped drive it. As you will see from this video that's about to play, there are numerous colleagues and friends that wanted to share more about Stephen's legacy as a soccer journalist.
Pretty simple. Steve Goff is the best soccer journalist in the history of our country. I still think about his game story following the World Cup final in 2022. Every word was the right word. He's an incredible reporter, but he's also just a beautiful writer.
I grew up reading the Washington Post and reading Steve's coverage. I aspired to get to the Post and to be one of his colleagues. And once I did, he opened the doors for me. He allowed me space to write about soccer. He welcomed me in. He allowed me to cover my first Gold Cup final.
He'd make the extra phone call. He'd get there much earlier than you would have thought. He prepares for the less likely outcome. He delves and searches for the more original angle to a story.
If you look around the soccer media, you'll notice that a lot of us are from the DC area originally, and that's not the only thing we have in common. We all grew up reading Steve Goff's work in the Washington Post.
When Steven started to cover soccer as a beat and make it his primary thing, very few people were doing that. I mean, the idea of soccer journalism in the United States almost didn't exist.
He brought me to World Cup camp ahead of the 2010 World Cup at Princeton so that I could be around the national team. He gave me opportunities to cover DC United. He did everything he could to allow me to build my own career in soccer journalism.
He covers international soccer, World Cups, the pro game, college, men's and women's equally. He can write an accurate and evocative game story on an absurd deadline and then turn around and author an original and thought-provoking feature the following day.
Over 1,000 times we've sat together over the last 15, 20 years and talked the game. And throughout that time, he's become a confidant and a friend.
To write about soccer takes a special skill, and Steve has always been honest and thorough and pretty thoughtful about his comments on games, and he did an outstanding job in his many years at the Washington Post. It allowed us to highlight the sport.
He has set the standard for soccer writing in this country for many decades.
I've always been struck and impressed by his professionalism. He's an old school reporter in that the story's never about him. It's not about him covering soccer, it's about the story.
He was so consistent, so reliable, so unflappable. I mean, he had that wry smile, soft-spoken, but always got the stories, always told great stories, and made people love the sport.
Been a rock for U.S. soccer in the MLS since day one.
Beyond that, he's been a great friend, a true gentleman, and I can't think of anyone more deserving of this award than Steve Goff.
I wish him the very best, and I congratulate him on this terrific honor.
At all the stops I've had, whether it was DC or Chicago or the national team, I always knew that it was a big event if you were covering it. You deserve all the credit in the world, and you're the GOAT.
You were my hero. You were my idol. Congratulations, Stephen. I'm thrilled to see you honored with the Colin Joes Media Award.
Always nice to get a look at Will Kuhn's kitchen. Please welcome to the stage Stephen Goff to accept the 2026 Colin Joes Media Award.
Thanks a lot, Rob. And thank you to the Hall of Fame for this incredible honor. It means so much to me to be recognized by this wonderful soccer family. And, you know, we all know each other and we all love each other, and we've all been part of this sport for decades. And it's a great honor to be here. Congratulations to all the young inductees tonight. Tony Sanneh and I go back to 1996. At DC United, when we were young and RFK Stadium was already very old. RIP, RFK Stadium. If there is ever a Hall of Fame soccer venue in this country, it's RFK Stadium. I'd like to thank all my friends, colleagues, and competitors in media circles who have made me a better reporter and a better writer. Thank you as well to the generation of U.S. players and coaches, both on the men's and the women's side, who have entrusted me to tell the stories and help chronicle the sport through their eyes. There's been no greater level of satisfaction than receiving feedback and compliments from readers who learn to love the sport through some of the stories that I told. I've done my best to inform, explain, educate, analyze, entertain, and as Rob mentioned, as a writer for a mainstream news outlet, introduce soccer to the masses. I think that's been a big obstacle in this country, is to get the mainstream involved with this game. Thank you to previous winners of this award for setting the standard. Notably, some of my fellow writers, New York Times, George Vesey, and the LA Times, Graham Jones, for being role models and friends with whom I shared more than a few 3 a.m. train rides between World Cup cities. Thanks to the two coaches I covered the most, Bruce Arena and Ben Olsen, who you saw in the video, who filled my notebooks with colorful quotes and lots of jokes. Thank you to the Washington Post for believing in me and believing in soccer at a time when most mainstream outlets showed outright disdain for the sport. Things have changed. In particular, I want to thank my four sports editors over the years, George Solomon, Emilio Garcia Ruiz, Matt Vita, and most recently, Jason Murray. I also want to thank Yahoo Sports for offering me an opportunity to cover this summer's World Cup. It's truly a full circle moment for me after counting USA 1994 as my first. From the bottom of my heart, I want to thank my mother, Cecile, who at nearly 87 years old still plays competitive tennis in New Hampshire. Rest assured, I will not be playing competitive anything at 87. If not for her support, I don't know where I would be today. When I was a senior in high school in the 80s, she handed me the keys to our 1978 yellow Volkswagen Rabbit so I could travel around the state and cover sports for our local daily newspaper, the Keene Sentinel. Dearest thanks to my wife, Karen, who's here tonight, and our son, Ryan, for their patience and understanding when I worked while most of the world was off. My wife has lost track of the number of weddings, bar mitzvahs, and holiday gatherings I've missed. I couldn't attend my son's high school graduation because I was in the Amazon covering a US 2014 World Cup match. But in my place was a bobblehead of me that the Chicago Fire had made for reporters a few years earlier. A true story, one of my wife's friends once compared me to Snuffleupagus, the Sesame Street character who could only be seen by Big Bird. My appearances at various events was that rare. A fun fact, Big Bird was a pretty good center back. Good in the air, not too good with his feet. Retired with ACL injuries. As everyone here knows, being away from home is the nature of the sports business, and one that has taken me to extraordinary locations and memorable matches. While most American sports writers are off to Indianapolis and Phoenix for big events, my travels have taken me to Wembley, Stade de France, Maracana, and Azteca. I've covered 8 World Cup qualifiers in Kingston, Jamaica, but I've never been on assignment to a place like New Orleans. That's the nature of soccer. Soccer and I have grown up together, from out of the shadows before the 1994 World Cup to the bright lights of another spectacular summer when the sport will be bigger than ever. Along the way, coverage of soccer has become so much more sophisticated, and you're reading it everywhere. There's a lot of terrific journalism being done out there, not just about soccer, but about the world at large. As we know all too well, there's a lot of junk out there too. So please, please, please continue to support good journalism. I will end with this. As varied as my experiences have been, the thing that captures the essence of soccer for me comes from, of all things, a line in the movie Mean Girls. Early in the film, Lindsay Lohan's character's friend is reading her class schedule. "You're taking 12th grade calculus?" Lohan's character responds, "Yeah, I like math." The friend says, "Ew, why?" Lohan answers, "Because it's the same in every country." Soccer is the same in every country. It is our universal language, and I'm honored to be part of this weird and wonderful and beautiful game. Thank you again, and congratulations to all the other honorees tonight. Thanks.
Who had Stephen Goff as a Mean Girls guy? Nobody. Nobody saw that one coming. On a quick personal note, Stephen and Bob, both of you, from everybody here, from me, congratulations. I don't think everybody realized how much they had to fight for coverage through the years, whether it was more space in the Washington Post or more coverage on SportsCenter, whatever it is. Those two put up the good fight to give soccer in this country more attention. So thank you guys, both of you, for everything that you have done. Something new with the World Cup this year coming up, we're gonna have hydration breaks. We're gonna have a little hydration break right now, the first of a couple hydration breaks tonight. We're giving you 7 minutes, so it's a little bit longer, so go do your business in 7 minutes, and then we're gonna come back as we begin to honor the class of 2026.
Ladies and gentlemen, our program will continue momentarily. Please take your seats. Thank you.
All right, your hydration break is over. Sorry, Team Minnesota over there on the left. 7 minutes are up. If you guys could all find your seats, please, as we begin to honor the members of the class of 2026. You can see why I was not an elementary teacher. All right. All right, we're going to continue as we get set to honor our first three recipients here at the hall. Before we do that, though, I want to give we got a lot of Dallas people here. I want to give a quick shout out to two Dallas sporting soccer legends, father-son combo. Kenny Cooper Sr. over there in the corner. You guys stand up. So good seeing you guys. Yes. Thank you guys for everything you continue to do for soccer in this area. Kenny could still play, by the way. All right. Our first inductee is one of the most accomplished referees in the history of the game. Yeah, table 5, table 6 are playing the right game right now. She is a member of the FIFA International Panel back in 99 to 2013. Carrie Seitz officiated in 8 different FIFA World Championships. She's the only person, the only one, man or woman, to referee in 4 World Cups and 3 Olympic Games. Hell yeah. Seitz marked a milestone moment for American officials at the 2011 Women's World Cup when she was appointed to officiate the 3rd place match between Sweden and France, which at the time stood as the highest level World Cup game refereed by an American until Tori Penso appointed to officiate the women's final in 2023. Domestically, Seitz refereed in over 200 professional matches, doing so across the board: Major League Soccer, the Women's United Soccer Association, Women's Professional Soccer, and the National Women's Soccer League. She also served as the center ref for the 2009 and 2011 WPS finals, finished her illustrious on-field career holding that whistle for the 2013 NWSL final. Since hanging up the whistle, Seitz has continued to be a trailblazer for American referees. Go back to 2016, she became the first American to work in FIFA's referee department. And in her role as FIFA head of refereeing for women, she aimed to change the culture for women referees and led the push that resulted in 6 women officials working the 2022 FIFA Men's World Cup in Qatar. Now, she is U.S. Soccer's Vice President of Refereeing, and she continues to mentor the next generation of American officials while working to raise standards and awareness for referees in the United States. let's take a closer look at the career of one of the best referees this country has ever produced, Carrie Seitz.
Refereeing can often be a thankless job, and you're looking for those moments where you realize that this is something really special. This is something I can do.
As she sits up here, Carrie Seitz sorting it out.
Referees are an essential part of success in soccer. They care about the game, and they want to see a fair and safe playing environment.
Carrie Seitz is the ultimate professional referee, not only in the US, but in the entire world. She is a visionary. She's innovative. When little girls can look and see somebody in the middle of a field and say, that's something I want to do. If they can do it, I can do it. And for me, that's the most important part of what she has brought into the program.
Carrie, those are amazing stats. Love that video. So before we hear from Carrie, we are going to welcome in her husband, Glenn Varnhagen, to present her for induction into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Glenn.
Wow. Wow. Did you really watch that video? That is an amazing Hall of Fame career. And to tell you the truth, I'm surprised we're here. I didn't think we'd make it here, except it was for me. When I first met Carrie, not a Hall of Fame candidate, no drive, no direction, didn't know the game at all. And I'll be completely honest, and I think she would agree with me, she was not educated. And some would say, once we met, it was that moment that changed her life. And she arrived on a path that brought her here today. Some would say that I believe that I should get a jacket, that I should have one. I should be celebrated. Now, some of the hecklers in the crowd, and I'm confident it's going to be her parents are the loudest ones here, are going to mention that we met each other when we were 7 years old. And they're going to tell you that she was right on the right path and she was right where she needed to be. But we all know who's wearing the jacket now. Yes, I'm Carrie's husband, about 30-ish years, but more importantly, we've known each other since we were kids. And it is my great honor to introduce you to her. So watching that highlight reel, multiple World Cups and Olympics and the biggest matches you can imagine. And I can stand here and walk you through every single one of those and tell you how she became the best referee on the planet. But I'm not going to do that because as good as her career was, that wasn't her superpower. Her superpower didn't show up until after she left the field. So during Carrie's career, she had one mantra that she followed. And that mantra was always, I want to referee the best. And when she retired, her mantra changed. And it changed from an inward mantra to an outward mantra. And her newest mantra that she is following daily is, how do I make the game better for all referees? And so that's what she's been focusing on for these years that she's been retired. And she started with the women's game. Not to create separation, but to eliminate it. She believed one simple and single powerful comment, which is the best referee should be on the field, period. I'm going to tell you a quick little story. It's behind the scenes about Carrie that most people don't know. So I'm going to take us back to the very beginning of the pandemic. We all remember that as soon as the pandemic hit, everything slowed down. And everybody took a beat and wasn't sure what was happening. And I looked over and I assumed that's what Carrie was going to do. But instead, she started to ramp it up. And during that time, she chose a mission to contact every referee organization in the world. She called every leader that she could. And it wasn't for her benefit. It wasn't so that she could get the accolades. It was so that she could open doors, change old world thinking. She wanted to make sure that the talent and not gender decided who stepped on that field. And I can tell you, because we lived in a very small apartment at that time, and her office and my office and the dining room were the same place. So I heard these stories often. But what I heard was consistency, conviction, and a belief that the game could be better than it was. And I think as we mentioned, or as you mentioned just moments ago, we all know what happened in 2022, the Men's World Cup in Qatar. 6 women walked on that field. Now that didn't just happen. That took a lot of calling, a lot of conversation, a lot of grit, a lot of consistency. But today, if you look around and you look at every professional, every premier professional league in the world, you can now see a woman walk onto that field. That is Carrie Seitz's superpower. So yes, Carrie had a Hall of Fame career on the field, but what she's done since has changed the game itself. She didn't just reach the top. She widened the path so others could follow her. So as a referee, as we know, Carrie stood on some of the best fields in the world, where the teams were cheered, the players were celebrated, but today we get it right. I ask that we all stand. We acknowledge that third team on the field and your most current inductee to the Hall of Fame, Carrie Seitz.
That's the first time I'd seen Glenn present in my life. It was a little bit of a risk, and for sure it was a little bumpy start, but wow, that was amazing. What else can I say, really? So before we get to the wow and the thank you, I mean, I have to admit, I'm used to standing in front of a lot of people and making difficult decisions. I've done that before. But tonight is more difficult than I thought. On one hand, I look at my career and I say, yeah, okay, that makes sense. A couple World Cups, a couple Olympics. But on the other hand, there's so much more I plan to accomplish, will accomplish. And it's really also hard to wrap my head around this idea that I'm receiving the same honor as someone like Essie Baharmist, someone who has been my role model for so many years. How could I possibly be in the same place? Receiving the same recognition, I mean, wow. Needless to say, I'm incredibly honored. And of course, no successful career is accomplished alone. You can see the love I have for this incredible man, and there's no way I'd be standing here without him. He's amazing, and thanks for introducing me, but luckily that's a one-time thing. He, as you can see, is my #1 supporter. Through the travel, many, many days away, thousands of hours watching myself again and again, makes mistakes on TV. Sorry about that. The moves to Switzerland, Georgia, maybe the most difficult move yet. But I think my path may have been, as you said, more challenging for you than for me. I really believe that, because you were always there to pump me up, to remind me that you were my shoulder to cry on after big mistakes, remind me that whatever I wanted to do, it didn't matter, you were there for me, under all and any circumstances. Because people see the World Cups, but they don't see what it takes to get there. Also, hey, you knew that who knew refereeing would help you realize your passion? For those who don't know, Glenn is an amazing photographer, and he started when he saw no one was taking photos of refs. He was like, hey, what the heck? So instead of complaining, he took a photography class just to take pictures of me. And now, he's on the winning World Cup photography team. I didn't even know that existed, but he's on the team. And he runs his own photography business, so it worked out pretty well. To my family, thank you for giving me the freedom to figure things out. You never told me what I should do. You let me find what fit. And those opportunities were all gifts. I know I wasn't the easiest kid to guide, because if something didn't make sense to me, I just didn't do it. And I never really wanted to follow the path that was expected of me, which is probably why refereeing worked, right? Let's be honest, you have to be a little different to be a referee. Something different. You have to beat your own drum. You have to be comfortable standing on your own. You have to making decisions, and sometimes being completely wrong in everyone's eyes. And to be sure, when I started refereeing, it was not a dream. It was not my dream. There were really 2 thoughts I had as a child. One, what sport can I get into that's going to take me to the Olympics? #1. #2, what can I do to show that women could do anything? I tried a lot of sports. Thank you. I tried a lot of sports, but soccer was the only one that made sense for me. I loved it immediately, and I stopped searching. And the thing that really stood out for me, you're going to hear this kind of thing a lot in the next 2 minutes, is that it was the same. The game is the same. It's the same field. It's the same ball. It's the same rules. No difference between girls and boys. That really mattered to me. And I didn't know it at the time, but soccer answered both my questions, the Olympic one and the role model for women. How lucky to find the one thing that could do both. For those wondering why people become referees, I was forced to. I had no choice. I'm pretty sure that our coach told the whole team we had to join. I'm pretty sure he didn't know the rules. Back, most parents in the 80s had no idea anything about soccer. But 10 years later, everything changed for me at the World Cup in 1994. How many people were there? Yeah, a few. I'd like to see more hands next time, after this next World Cup. But that game was a defining moment for me. I saw the referees walk out on the field, and I'll never forget the feeling. The sky opened, I had these goosebumps, and I was like, whoa, that's what I want to do. I want to be on that field, at that level, leading the biggest games in the world. Honestly, I didn't even notice there were no women referees. That didn't even cross my mind. But from there, that became my path. And like a lot of referees, it wasn't an easy path. Like players, also, you give up weekends, you train early, you miss family and friends, and most of your work, actually, you do alone. And the game, you manage players, coaches, emotions, and at least half the people think you're wrong at least half the time. And of course, as a woman, let's say, Sandy, you would know, there are very few of us. Were. And with refereeing, if you do it really, really well, guess what? Nobody says anything. But you do it because you care about the game and whatever that strange something that made me choose being a goalkeeper. The same thing that pushed me towards always choosing that unexpected path. Yeah, that same voice said, yeah, sure, refereeing. That makes sense. Refereeing took me places I never would have imagined, over 95 countries. People from all over the world, different cultures, different perspectives. I will never take for granted how lucky I am to live in this amazing soccer world and all it has taught me. But from the beginning, my goal was always bigger than my career. As I said, I had it on my mind since I can remember that somehow I was going to prove that women could do anything, and soccer was my way. I chased that as a referee. I worked at high levels, but even then I knew that the impact I wanted to make was going to be something bigger. It wasn't an easy path, and all those difficult experiences and amazing opportunities, just like probably all of you in the room, those shaped me. They gave me a perspective and credibility, right? So you see this list, you're like, oh, maybe she knows what she's talking about. But they also gave me a voice. And I also, of course, through this, truly understood what it felt like to break into spaces that weren't really designed for me initially. I think I might be the only women leader in refereeing in anywhere in the world. So when the opportunity came to work at FIFA, I knew this was a once-in-a-lifetime chance to change things from the inside, create better support, better opportunities, and a clearer path for women referees. And during that time, we reached a moment, now it's already been mentioned twice, but I think it's worth celebrating. So many people did not believe was possible that women would officiate at the Men's World Cup, Qatar. And the first time in the 92-year history of the competition, it happened. And now guess what? There's no going back, right? I have to say, I cried for almost 15 minutes when this was announced. It was such an overload of emotion for everything it took to get there and for what it showed the world. Give women a chance, and we can prove we can do anything. And this summer, I am very proud to say you'll see 3 women representing the referees. Community from the USA. That's progress. Now, in my role at US Soccer, I'm still trying to do that, make things better for others. And right now, it's a really simple goal. Build the best refereeing program in the world. Simple goal. Big challenge, of course, but one I believe in. But this time, I'm really, really lucky. I'm not doing it alone. I have an amazing team at US Soccer. This table, my US Soccer referee department team. Super people who care deeply about improving soccer and getting refereeing right in this country, dedicated not to their own success, but making it better for others. There's still much more to do, and I can't wait for what's ahead. I do want to say one more thank you before I go to the referees, the mentors, the assigners, the administrators, players and coaches. You gave me opportunities, you gave me advice. Many of you challenged me, not nicely always, but it always made me better. Sorry. But it always made me better, and the truth is, the award doesn't really belong to me alone. There are thousands of referees who have given just as much to this game, but without this kind of recognition. And there are only a few referees in the Hall of Fame, and 2 since 1999 solely inducted for their work on the field. I know that's going to change, because what referees give to this game deserves to be seen. I encourage all of you to enjoy the upcoming World Cup this summer. Cheer with all your heart for the men's national team, but also our 8 US soccer referees who will be proudly representing the US on the world stage. They deserve your support. Thank you for this incredible honor. It's been a pleasure of a lifetime to represent the United States and to serve this beautiful game. Thank you.
Congratulations, Carrie. Playing injured today, by the way. Way to fight through it. Good job. Carrie, I do feel like I got to bring up VAR with Glenn's opening. Like, can maybe we reflect back on this? Like, bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out. Yeah, okay. It was one and done, right? One and done. Good job, Glenn, for making her the woman she is. Carrie, you crushed it. Thank you for everything you've done for U.S. soccer and officiating. Our next inductee is an indoor soccer legend, capital L, who spent his entire 14-year professional career with one club, the famous San Diego Sockers. After a standout 4-year career at San Diego State, go Aztecs. Some of my money's going to be going there next year. Almost all of Kevin Crowe's professional career in the 1980s and early 90s came during an era where indoor soccer was the place to play, and that was both by necessity and by design, with crowds packing arenas from coast to coast. Who went to MISL games? Raise your hand, right? I know Bob Lee did. Yeah, New York Arrows, Hartford Hellions, Baltimore Blast, Tacoma Stars, the Wichita Wings, St. Louis Steamers, San Diego Sockers as well. During that time, Kevin became one of the most dominant defenders in the American indoor game, leading the Sockers to 7 indoor championships in an 8-year span, winning Defender of the Year 5 times and earning all league honors on 6 different occasions. In an era when the U.S. men's national team played less frequently than we're used to today, Crowe still earned 13 senior international caps. That includes appearances in qualifying for the 1986 FIFA World Cup, as well as contributing to the United States' successful qualification for the 1990 World Cup. 2-time Olympian, Crowe was part of the side that achieved the U.S.'s first win at the Olympic Games in 60 years at the 1984 Summer Olympics in LA, before returning 4 years later to again represent the United States in Seoul. Today, we celebrate those efforts by taking a look back at his contributions.
Second round draft choice from San Diego State, was named runner-up Rookie of the Year.
Playing right back of San Diego, California, we have Kevin Crowe.
He has been instrumental in 2 of the San Diego goals. A big, quick defender with an eye for the goal, he became a legitimate force at both ends of the floor.
It's nice knowing that you think you did your part to help out the team to get you here.
Crowe was a testimonial to the Sockers' rapidly improving scouting system.
Leader, a captain, a guy you can rely on. When you talk about Kevin Crowe, you talk about probably one of the best readers of the game, one of the best one-on-one defenders.
Then on the line, blocked by Kevin Crowe, my goodness.
And not a bad shot either.
Back across far post, Crowe scores!
Kevin Crowe.
So great. I never tire of those old MISL videos. Please welcome former U.S. men's national team defender, Kevin's former San Diego Sockers teammate, the Natalie-attired Brian Quinn, to present Kevin for induction into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Quinny.
What a thrill to be here, number one. Congratulations to Bob, Stephen, Carrie, Tony, Chris, Tobin, and Heather. Congratulations. Very, very important. Not to forget names, Rob. Obviously, I'm honored to be here and being invited by Kevin to introduce him. And a good friend of mine who I used to grow up with and played in Ireland is now in Australia. He always used to say, young men have dreams and old men have memories. And that's, without an historical perspective, it's very difficult to kind of understand how good Kevin Crowe was. So I'll try and provide that in the next 3 or 4 minutes. 1983, Kevin Crowe played against Franz Beckenbauer, Vladimir Abodicevich, Giorgio Canalia, Karl-Heinz Grunitzka, Roberto Cabañas, as a rookie. That was his first year. In 1984, in his second year, and the last year of the NASL, he was first team NASL. First team. If you just reflect on that, and those names I just mentioned, along with the other guys that also played there at that time, Pato Marhetic, Kaz Dana, who was on the Sockers, unbelievable players, and he was on the NASL first team. Then the league folded. Kevin was playing for the Olympic team. He was in the qualifying for the 86 World Cup, played in the 84 Olympics and the 88 Olympics. And all the time while we were practicing with the Sockers, he was practicing a game. Because the difference between the indoor game and the outdoor game is absolutely astounding. You can't do it unless you train outdoors. And he was training twice a day, while we in San Diego were training in the morning, going to the beach in the afternoon. That's what we done. Amazing accomplishments, as Rob said, the Olympics, national team, Defender of the Year. And in 1992, towards the end of his career, probably the most prestigious award that he received at the ISL Championship was the unsung hero, Kevin. So congratulations on being an unsung hero after a stellar career. That was amazing. Everybody knew you. So to give you that perspective, the 1980s, the 1990s, and the 2000s, 4 guys come to my mind as the best central defenders in America. 2000s, Carlos Bocanegra as a central defender, the best in America. 1990s, Marcelo Balboa and Eddie Pope. 1980s, Kevin Crowe was the best central defender in America. Had offers to go to England. He stayed in the US, got all the accomplishments that he achieved. And I'd like to share this little story with, I was the only player in San Diego Soccer's history that got a red card at training. So we're at training, and there's a 50-50. We're playing against some guy, and a little guy called Ketter comes in. He goes in over the top. I go for him. Ron Newman shouts, "You're out of here. You're out of here." I left the field. I'm in the locker room. I'm sitting there. First red card in training ever. And I'm getting changed, ready to go home. In walks Kevin. And I says, "What happened?" He says, I told Ron it was a shit call. Sorry, Carrie. Should never have been a red card. And so that was, the both of us were the only 2 players ever to get red cards in training. So Kevin, thank you for having my back. So as a roommate, and you're with someone 5, 6, 7 years as a roommate, you see their little traits. So we would go and play the indoor games, and then you get home to the hotel, and you land there, and you're ready to go to sleep and whatever. And he says, Quinny, I got to tell you this. He says, Louis L'Amour. He says, I got to tell you about him. I says, Kevin, I have no idea who Louis L'Amour is. He says, he's this cowboy, and he's going across the plains, and he's crawling through the desert, and he's fighting in bars and everything. I says, Kevin, I just want to go to sleep. Please leave me alone. It's 12:30. But that was his passion, reading about the Old West and the American frontier. We both went to work for the guy who owned the team, a guy called Ron Fowler, who owned a beer distributorship called Mesa Distributing. Fabulous guy who's now the chairman of Lincoln City FC. And Ron says, when the league was ready to fold, he says, I'll offer you guys a job. I says, great, Ron, what do you want to do? Kevin gets a collar and tie, goes to the management meeting, goes to the budget meetings, goes to the planning meetings. I'm on the truck. I'm on the truck at 5 a.m., lifting the kegs, getting the beer, going around all San Diego. And I knew from that day that was not in my future. I knew I was not going to be in the beer industry. Last point, wrap it up before Kevin can share his brilliant memories with you. The game's about all of us. It's about the memories, the personalities, the ups, the downs, and the game unites all of us at different levels. During our time at the San Diego Sockers, with players from USA and Mexico, England, Ireland, Serbia, Croatia, Brazil, Argentina, Iraq, Iran, Poland, Russia, all on the same team at different times. And this time in our history, I think it's important to remember that soccer unites us all. Thank you very much. Kevin Crowe, it's your time.
Wow, this is quite an experience. I wanted to thank the National Hall of Fame. It's an honor and privilege to be here among tonight's fellow honorees and all of the prior inductees that have come before this evening. A special thank you to Marcelo Balboa, who you saw stepped into and presented me with this notice that I was going into the Hall of Fame. He surprised me at my club, as you saw in the video, and I actually thought I was dreaming. I hadn't seen Marcelo in quite some time, even though we're fellow Aztecs, San Diego State. And it was just a surprise. I thought he was visiting, and all of a sudden, I said, what did I do? Am I in trouble or something like that? And all of a sudden, he said, no, you idiot. You're getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, the real Hall of Fame. So that's when my whole world came slowly crawling down as my family and friends started to walk in, and it was just a wonderful day. So thank you, Marcelo. I also want to thank Brian Quinn, my teammate. As you said, as you can see, we have a lot of stories. Some we can talk about, some we can't. But he was always there as a teammate for me. He had my back. He was a true friend. And he was the engine and the fighting spirit of the team. And he demanded that from everybody, and nobody wanted to let Brian Quinn down. He always had my back. I'd like to thank my family for their wonderful support over the years. My brother Mike and his wife Christina, who are here, my sister Christy, my daughter Kendall and her husband Will, and my two grandchildren Liam and Miles, my sons Kellen and Cameron, and my wife Brenda, who have all supported me like crazy over the years. As you're hearing, all the inductees haven't got here alone. We had a lot of help along the way. Family, teammates, coaches, organizations that we played for. So I've had a lot of support all the way through with just quality individuals and quality organizations. My pathway started in 1972 when my family decided to move just like 3 miles away, but they moved into a town called Pleasanton, and I was able to join a club called Ballistic United. It was a club that was ahead of its time, and I was very fortunate. The leadership of that club to this day, with the coaches and the reputation is wonderful. Coaches like, I have to mention a few, Larry Baldrini, Harry Miller, Ian Lang, they all had leadership and motivational skills second to none. And that led into the local high school that I was able, that was part of my pathway, where we were champions year after year. We won 42 games, which was the national record at the time without a loss. So again, I was a very fortunate benefit of moving into Pleasanton, being able to participate in a wonderful club with wonderful teammates and coaches, and doing the same thing at the high school season. And then it was on to San Diego State. And this is where I got to credit my brother, Mike, who was already at San Diego State as a student, and he walked up to the coach there and said, "You need to look at my brother," right? And that's all it took. I got down there in one day, and the coach picked me up at the airport, which I don't even know if you can do anymore, and took me to a club training, watched me train one time on the way back to the to the airport. He bought me Taco Bell. I don't think you can do that either. And basically said, "I want you to be an Aztec. I'll give you books and tuition." I'm going, "Wow, that's great." He goes, "It's a whopping $750 back then." Okay? A little bit of a different time. But it was just that my brother made that, he had my back. And he got me the introduction. Then I was on to San Diego State. And we had a great run for 4 years with a great coach, George Logan. Sorry, Quinny, he was from Scotland, not Ireland, but similar accent. But it was just wonderful, because again, I'm going from one organization to another. Great leadership, great coaches, great teammates. And a lot of the teammates at San Diego State were from international, Sweden, Norway, South Africa. So like Quinny was saying, I mean, this game brings us together like no other sport does. And I've always benefited from that. And then if I don't go to San Diego State because my brother doesn't make that nod on the coach's shoulder, odds that I get drafted by San Diego Sockers in the NESL probably doesn't happen, right? They weren't out there recruiting nationally like they are now, and there aren't those types of platforms, you know? So it all kind of flows together for me. And then when I go to San Diego Sockers and I get with Hall of Fame coach Ron Newman, and again, all the talented players that Brian's mentioned, my challenge was to survive every day. I was playing with and against Brian Quinn, Steve Jungle, Bronco Segota, Julie V, Kaz Dana. Every day, I was just trying to impress my teammates, hold my own, and help them win games on the weekends. And actually, the competition was so hard at training, basically, the games were easy. And that's not disrespectful to all the talent that Brian was saying that we had in the league. It was just literally, I was battling every day to earn my way into the team's graces. And it was just a wonderful experience. And then, you know, one of the things I benefited from too was in 1983-84 when U.S. Soccer, the Olympics, you know, not the foundation, but the organization decided for the first time to bring professionals into the '84 Olympics. Before then, it was all amateurs. And our amateurs were playing against first division German, European players that are 28, 30 years old. And at some point, they wanted to give us an equal footing. So they allowed about 3 or 4 months before the '84 Olympics to bring in the NASL professional players. And that was a decision that was out of my control, but I was a beneficiary of it again. You know, so I was very fortunate there. And then I'd also like to think when I played for the San Diego Sockers, I played, you know, from '83 to '92. And what Quinny doesn't tell you is when the team folded and then when the team came back in '96, he was the coach and he talked me into playing again after a 4-year span, which was an interesting conversation with my wife, Brenda. So, anyway, that was an opportunity where we won 10 championships in 11 years. And I got to brag about them again because they just won their 17th championship this last week, you know? So it was a wonderful organization that I was able to be a part of again on my pathway. So I've just been very fortunate. Yes, I've worked hard. I'm a big believer in the work ethic gets rewarded. over more often than not. I'm a big advocate of that still. I'm a big advocate that I'd love to see kids play multiple sports. I got to say that. I don't like it when I see kids pressured to, yeah, please. You know, the kids will know their sport to specialize in when that time comes. And I'm just a big believer. I played 4 or 5 sports. And sometimes I had 3 practices in one day when they all overlapped. But my parents always supported me, encouraged me, even though my dad was an ex-NFL player with the Oakland Raiders and the Buffalo Bills and didn't know anything about the silly game of soccer, which he used to always ask, you really have fun chasing a ball around on the field? And I go, it's not only fun, that's my sport. I knew that was my sport. It's the ultimate team sport, right? I really feel that. So I'm very blessed. And then what probably the biggest thing that ever happened to me was my junior year in high school. I was taking German. I don't know why I took German over Spanish or French. I just took German. And day 1, class is starting. This young lady walks in the door. I'm sure she was late. And walks by me. And I go, I got to get to know her. And 3 months later, I asked her out to homecoming. She said, yep. And 48 years later, she's still. Yeah, she's never complained. She's always encouraged me. All the road trips we all go on, you know, when she's a working single mom basically with kids, she always said, go do it, you know, and supported me along the way. Love you. So I just wanted to thank everybody, my teammates, my coaches, the organizations I played for. I've been very fortunate. Thank you.
Kevin Crow, everybody. By the way, can we keep that picture up for a second? Like, seriously, you're looking at, can we go back to the Kevin Crow headshot? Like, we're looking at this dude, and you're like, oh, yeah, he's totally SoCal, bro. Right, the hair. He's got a little Magnum PI creeping over the little V-neck right there. Yeah, Kevin. Hell yeah, man. You had it going on, brother. Well done. Congratulations, Kevin. I'm not wrong, right? I wasn't wrong, David. All right. All right, hey, Minnesota, we ready? It's my kind of people over there. They don't...
Playing Coach Arena's high-pressure D, the U.S. dominated as they made world headlines. Tony Sanneh! Tony Sanneh! Cutter, goal! Sanneh!
I was good at it, and it was contagious.
Just Tony Sanneh sends it home.
Well, they kind of opened up half the goal for me, so I just, pushed it to the empty side.
Tony Sanneh, unmarked totally, just nods the ball down into the net.
We collect and redistribute gently used soccer stuff. I had a responsibility to use my social capital to give back. We got to start helping the community. Blow it up.
And the first championship trophy to true champions.
Hey, Big Cat, you think you can still jump that high? Huh? Bro, your head, bro, like my kids are talking to me. Bro, Dad, bro, your head was at the crossbar when you headed that one in at MLS Cup. Amazing feat. All right, Please welcome Tony's longtime friend and Sanneh Foundation colleague, Adam Gislason, to present Tony for induction into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Adam.
Wow. What a thrill. Thank you, Rob. You know, it's a thrill to be up here with the voices of U.S. soccer, Bob Lee and Rob Stone, and an honor to be here with my fellow presenters and the inductees. Congratulations. And what an amazing year. It's 2026, not just any year. This is a World Cup year, hosted here in the United States. And I look around the room and I see Tony's name already up there in the corner. And I have half of Minnesota here in the house with me. Where are you at? I mean, the Minnesota Wild and Minnesota Timberwolves won on a playoff series on the same day. If I'm dreaming, please don't wake me. This is amazing. When I first got the call from Tony, Big Cat, to introduce him into the Hall of Fame, my first reaction, while being overwhelmed with emotion, was, why me? Are you serious? Why should I have this incredible honor of introducing one of the greatest players in U.S. soccer history? Or as I refer to Tony, when I introduce him in other situations, I introduce him as the best player on the best team in the history of U.S. men's soccer. Because, I mean, I don't say that lightly. Think about it. That's what Tony is. That's what Tony was for an entire World Cup run. The 2002 U.S. men's national team shocked the world, making it to the World Cup quarterfinals, where the U.S. hadn't been before, and they haven't been there since. Hopefully they're gonna be there this year. Big Cat played in every minute of every match of that World Cup run. 450 minutes over 5 matches. He never subbed out. And you know he's elite. We heard about Coach Bruce Arena. You know he's elite when Coach Arena says, hey, Big Cat, you just got one job. Just stop the greatest player in the world. And then he goes out and he actually does it. Rumor has it, Figo, to this day, he was asked, what's your biggest nightmare? And he said, Gatto Grande, which means Big Cat. But I wasn't there on the pitch. I wasn't a teammate. I wasn't a coach. I was just a fan. I was just a fan when Tony played in the Bundesliga and became the first African American to play in a Champions League match. I was just a fan when he led DC United to the first ever MLS Cup championship, and then the very next year repeated, scoring the game-winning championship goal. I was just a fan of Big Cat. But I met Tony after all of that. I met Big Cat when he was more like Big Tired Cat. He was still dangerous. He was still dangerous, don't get me wrong, but mostly going to the snack bar or going to the office. He's dangerous, all right. But retirement did not slow Tony down. It just gave him permission to do what he was put on this planet to do. And that's helping tens of thousands of kids achieve their dreams. After the final whistle of Tony's career, he didn't step away from the game. He expanded it. He went right from playing with David Beckham and Landon Donovan at the LA Galaxy to forming the Sanneh Foundation, where I and others like his mom, De La Rez, Lou Bavaro, Todd, and many others here in this room helped Tony achieve new dreams. I'm here because while I didn't assist Big Cat's excellence on the pitch, I've witnessed it and partially assisted Tony's greatness off of it. Through the Sanneh Foundation, Big Cat took everything soccer gave him: opportunity, discipline, belief, and he turned it into something bigger, something more profound, something of legacy and legend. He created pathways, he created community, and most important, he created hope and belief. Every single day, Tony pours into young people, many who look like him, many who share his story, kids who are chasing something bigger than themselves. And through the Sanneh Foundation, he's helped tens of thousands of children not just dream about the American dream, but believe they can live it. That's the Big Cat we know, admire, and love. Because greatness isn't just what you achieve for yourself, it's what you create for others. Tonight, we honor a career that set the standard on the pitch. But more importantly, we celebrate a life that continues to raise the standard off the pitch. And on that note, we have this very special video from someone who knows something about dreams and someone who knows something about daring to believe.
My name is Brendan Hunt, and I cannot stress this enough, but I am not a real soccer coach. I am, however, a real fan of Tony Sanneh. I'm in Chicago right now, one of the many cities that was fortunate enough to have Tony grace its pitch. And this was a player where no matter where he played, he combined physicality with grace, he combined stoic unflappability with a relentless engine, and you absolutely trusted him with your life every single minute he was on the pitch, including, but not limited to, every single minute of every single game at the 2002 World Cup. He is legend, and today is overdue. Please welcome to the stage Tony Sanneh on his induction to the National Soccer Hall of Fame class of 2026, baby! Let's go!
Thank you, everybody. So I'm just going to start out. After soccer, I went into the nonprofit world, and it's about raising money. So the best way to do it is bring a lot of people and a hype man. So I'll excuse them. You know, I want to start by thanking the Hall of Fame, all the players and coaches and leaders that helped build this game. Jorn,
What you have done has been tremendous with this building. You've built this institution to complement the growth of the game. And the game's been doing pretty good lately. You know, Cindy, JT, we really appreciate all that you've done for the game. I had an amazing time today with Soccer Forward running this clinic. And I just have to shout out to Bobby and the way that the alumni get treated now. And we like free stuff, so. Bobby, I love you. I'm honored to be inducted with this class. So first, I'd probably, I want to thank Carrie and the other referees here. I know Joe and Essie has been tolerating me for a long time, so I appreciate you. But it was really Tobin that probably told me it was time to wind it down. As she started in the late 2000s, I started to watch videos of things I knew that my body couldn't do and tricks that we just weren't taught. So the game had changed, so it was time for me to go. So thank you for showing me the door. And Wando, your family reminded me that I was inspiring for you because your first MLS goal ever was against me. So I appreciate that as well. Thank you. Kevin, as I left, as I went into soccer, I played indoor soccer. And it teaches you a lot. And those early group of pioneers are really the forgotten ones. And the talent and the skill that just wasn't publicized before social media, before television. But that's where I feel I gained the grit to become that relentless two-way player. So thank you. I'm not forgetting anyone, am I? Just kidding. Rob, you're in trouble. No. I know that I was never going to coach soccer again, and that, I have a son, he's 16 months, and last year Heather was on my team in the congressional soccer game, and we won, and so that told me that if I have good players, I'm always going to win. So Heather, thank you very much for that. Okay. I want to thank my family, my cousin Monica and Tom, Isaac and Courtney for coming. My brother, my nephew Silas, I've always had support from them in every way. My mom is a social worker for 42 years, and I would say that the whole family helped raise us, so thank you all. My mom really, gave me confidence. She loved me. She made me believe that I could do anything. She could also be kind of a badass if she needed to, so that's maybe why I'm stubborn. Even today, we play a lot of cards, and I'm starting to feel bad because sorry, Mom, but I'm starting to win a lot. And, but most of all, my mother just set the example of being what a good person is. People would call me, I'm like, I'm not home. She says, I'm not lying for you. That's the kind of person she was. But it wasn't until she sent me to actual soccer school that changed my life. I met a man named Buzz Lagos in Minnesota who couldn't be here tonight. Yes. And Buzz was like a second father to me, and his son, Manny, became my best friend. And Buzz was also my math teacher, and me and Manny ended up going to college together in Wisconsin, being roommates and taking every class together. I know it sounds a little weird, but we were tight. But anyways, this group of friends from this community in Minnesota, we won the Under-19 championship. So I want to put a shout out to the 1990 St. Paul Blackhawks. So that ages me. Yes. I went on to college at Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and Coach Tompkins, Sorosky, Louie, Stan, Tony supported me throughout the years. I have two great teammates, and John and Aaron, that came here today. So thank you. And the theme is that people in my life supported me all the way, and I so appreciate that. By my sophomore year, this strange guy came up to me. His name was Boro, not that one, the other one. Boro said, hey, if you want to play soccer, I'll quit everything I can do and start a professional soccer team. So I was like, who is this nut job, right? A couple years later, I'm done with school. He starts a soccer team and said, let's go. I'm like, why not, right? And so me and Brian McBride start playing for the Milwaukee Rampage, start our careers, all because this man believed in us. So I was really, really blessed. People were always believing me. You know, one example is Rocky Fresh. Rocky was my first ever Adidas rep. And, you know, like Bobby, Rocky knew the keys to my heart, free stuff. And so Rocky saw me playing and he said, you know, there's something special about you. And he would drop boxes of free stuff, you know, at my house and give me stuff. And then at the MLS Combine, he advocated for me. And he came back and he's like, you know, these guys really like you, and Bruce Arena really likes you. And so I said, well, I'm not going to play for free. So I was like the first ever holdout from MLS. Me and Sunil have made up since. But, you know, Rocky, we talked throughout our career. You know, when I was going to go to the MLS, you know, I met with Rocky and my mother to have a conversation of if it was the right move for me. So there's people in everything I did that wasn't transactional. They were really relationships. And Rocky is here today with me. And so thank you for coming. And along the way, I also met another rep, Lily Hall, who now runs a marketing agency in Minnesota and supports the foundation. So the gift that keeps giving. Thank you, Rocky. You know, I know I'm blessed, and you know, as MLS started, what happened in DC was really, really special, and I was a part of a movement, you could say. And Stephen, it's been an honor to work with you, and you know, we were all the same age. It seemed like I was probably older than you. But we were all like kids doing something, and we felt like family. And it wasn't just reporting; it was like discussing the game together. And so I'm so honored to be here with you, receiving this award, and because I feel like I grew up with you. I'm also like in D.C. You know, I roomed with Charles Raycroft, and if you don't know Charles, he's probably the all-time most famous equipment manager in MLS. I roomed with Michael Kammerman. He ended up being a press officer at UF Soccer. And I roomed with Ben Olsen his rookie year in DC United, who's come on to be a great coach. And I don't mean like on the road. I mean like we rented an apartment together, so it was a little different. In DC, you know, this was just something Bob, Bruce, and Kevin all built together. When I went to practice, I was pushed every day, and people like Marco Echeverry, Jaime Moreno, John Harkes, Jeff Egus, Eddie Pope. And then there was guys like Jesse Marsh, who made everything a competition, and if it wasn't going to be a competition, he made it a debate. But these people knew what winning was, and they knew what true leadership was. And I also, you know, will never forget, you know, and I call him my friend because I never had an agent, Rod Moskowitz, and he's here today. And, you know, it was a huge deal. He would get me appearances for $250 to go and sign autographs for the Washington Post. So thank you, Rod. And today, Rod runs one of the biggest NASCAR and soccer agencies. But Rod was honest with me, and he would tell me, like, you need to slow down, or you need to do this, or you need to play better if you really want to, you know, complain. So thank you, Rod, for keeping it real. You know, another person that kept real was Bob Bradley. You know, Bob was great because I was very fast, and everyone would say, you just need to dribble because you're so fast. And Bob would be like, just play your game. It's all going to work out. Play your game. And so I found ways to get behind defenses without having to dribble. And I thank Bob for giving me that confidence to just do what was comfortable for me and made me a great player. Bruce also was, you know, one of my mentors, and Bruce fought for me to get me to DC United, and he pushed, you know, over 6 weeks with Sunil until he finally, you know, I don't want to say they caved. We compromised, and so they found a deal that I was able to come to DC, and we won the first championship. And Bruce would often call me in his office and, you know, tell me that, you know, we couldn't burn the candle from both sides, and he needed me for 90 minutes. And you know, then, you know, I remember one of the hardest days for me was I got hurt in the last regular season game, and I didn't start in the MLS final, and, you know, I was really pissed. And when I got done with that practice, there was a jacket in my locker, and I was like, this doesn't happen to normal people. And so I came in and scored, and after that, Bruce never benched me again, by the way. So me and Bruce we're cool now. Bruce took on the national team in my first start with, against Germany. I scored. And then on the way back, believe it or not, I sat by this lady for like 16 hours on the way to Germany. And she's here today, Heather and Paul. And they come to visit me every year for the past 27 years. So thank you. Thank you. They usually come to our gala in Minnesota. And I know we run deep, but in Minnesota, if you ever come to a Sanneh Foundation gala, we have 1,700 people. So we come deep. So we do it big, and today we have 110 guests, so I just want to thank you all for coming. I won't tell everybody else one of the reasons you might have come is just to escape the weather, but we are happy to be in Texas. So then I moved on to the national team, and I remember how scared I was, and, I guess I was always different, I just remember, and I saw that video, and like Marcelo Bobo I was scared of him because he was a tough guy, but he was like the nicest guy in the world to me. And Tony Miola was like nice to me. And even, there's different, Eric Ronaldo was nice to me, right? Eric laughed at me, and he started laughing. I said, what are you laughing at? He goes, where have you been hiding? You're so good. You're going to be so good. He goes, but you need to do these things. And I know that some of these players had these tough guy personas, but with me, I was always lucky for people to take care of me. So they helped me get to where I was. Last year was probably the only year that I was not really disappointed to get into the Hall of Fame. And that's because Chris Armas got in. And he was like my brother, a teammate. I respected him so much, one of the best teammates ever. And I just trusted him and Eddie Pope so much. And I loved being on the field with them. Off the field, I was a little bit wilder than those two. Closer maybe to Frankie Haydick. Hunts might know something about that. Shout out to U.S. defenders, Frankie Haydick and Gooch. I think U.S. defenders are sometimes, unappreciative. So I hope someday that they get into the Hall. They're amazing players that did a lot for club and country and played internationally. And so I do think sometimes, we forget, what we don't forget, I think our opinion on what quality soccer is different. And for this game truly to grow, I guess we're going to have to put people with the lived experiences. I get asked so often, when are our best athletes going to play? And I'm like, well, I was an all-state point guard and run the slam dunk contest in my state, so, But, I'm the exception and not the rule. So when is the rule going to be the exception? And so we're going to need to give, people with lived experiences a seat at a table if we want to see that cultural change. Because otherwise, there's always going to be that cultural barrier. If we really want to compete on the world stage, to have all of our best athletes playing and not just a few. But I am thrilled to see the growth of the game, the young stars. I was blessed enough to play in Landon and Beasley's first World Cup and saw them invigorate the country. And I did experience, I don't know if any of you saw it, You Don't Know Me, Dog. Anyone heard of that? Yeah, so, yeah, he punched me too. He also ruined my dreams of, I came back and played the Hunts, I'm sorry here. They ruined my dreams of my MLS return, and then I missed the penalty kick, so I hope you're forgiving me for that in Columbus. But if it's any consolation, my friends are either trying to get a truly sponsorship or they're buying lots of tickets and spending lots of money to make up for the penalty kick I missed in Columbus. So thank you. But it's awesome to watch a guy like Clint Dempsey through this transformation just become a leader, and what he did for the country is kind of like a wild card, a fighter, not trusted, to somebody that you could go to support and help. I see now Josie Altidore, when he was 15, he was so excited to see me, and they wanted to take every single piece of energy, and now you see him as a successful businessman. And I don't want to forget Kobe Jones, who's been memorialized this weekend with the trophy, but I would still say he's not totally included in leadership. As I stepped away from the game, I moved back to the community where I felt like I had the most support, where my support system was the strongest. And I had people taking care of me, and my business partner Ben is here, and we did some things together, and we're successful. And well, I'm not going to call him out. He's a great guy, except for his choice in Premier League teams. He's a Tottenham fan, in case you're wondering. And then, you know, you saw my friend Adam, and Adam and Lou were talking at one point, and, you know, all of a sudden we were having World Cup viewing parties and watching Landon and Clint. And that's kind of how the foundation exploded. But I didn't do it alone. My friend Todd Herskowitz is here, and, you know, he was he's been my right-hand man for years. He left a couple years ago, but he's still here supporting us, and a great soccer player, but a great person as well. And him and Pat, who's also here, you know, he was an English major. Next thing I know, I took over a community center for a city, and I'm like, can you do it? He's like, I'll try. And so they started to run a community center. You know, 15 years later, we spent $10 million to build the biggest sports dome there, 300,000 square feet, and we're spending $10 million more to build the first ever women's athletic center in Minnesota for the girls. You know, others joined quickly. And so I believe if you do the right thing, others will join. Rod Young couldn't be here, he joined. Lance Larson is here. You know, we had people, you know, donate millions of dollars to what has become our dream. So thank you, Lance. You know, our staff has grown. We have 110 full-time staff and a $10 million annual budget. And we hire hundreds of kids to run camps and academic programs and food in Minnesota. And I have my staff here. I know Dawn's here. Brandon, it's his last day at 5 o'clock, so are you really on the clock or not anymore? I don't know. You can drink whatever you want. Michelle is on the national CP team. He's been working with us for 5 years, so shout out to Michelle for being an example in our community and the other staff here. And now, you know, Michael, he's been rowdy. I think he just left too, by the way. But my son, I have a 16-month-old son. So my message to everybody and to him is I have one last job, and although Michael will never see me play, I want him to know that, you know, his genes come from a great warrior, you know, nation and a Kabu Nancho from West Africa, from where my father's genes come from. And his dad is also a Hall of Fame. And he's got a loving mother, Yua. So Yua, thank you for carrying him around. Michael, my message is, I'm committed to watching you grow and do the best I can as we change the world together. And for the rest of you watching, if you'll have me at the table, I promise you all, in true Hall of Fame fashion, soccer will be at the core, the cultural core of our community. And like my friends at Symbiotica say, live with intention. So let's continue to change the world. Thank you very much.
Tony, congratulations. Multiple red jackets being handed out right there. Tony, just know there's a reason so many people in your life have been nice to you. There's a reason. It's because of who you are and who you continue to be. So thank you for everything you've done on and off the field for soccer and for your communities. All right, on the clock. Where's Tobin? I guess here. Tobin is on the clock. Wando, somewhere over there. Wando on the clock. So with that, we're going to take a quick little break as we get ready for Tobin and Wando. Who? What's one? Oh, Heather O'Reilly is also on the clock. You didn't know this was going to be a theme. I didn't plan this theme, hey-o. All right, so we're going to take a fast hydration break. Folks, we have cut it down to 5 minutes. So do what you got to do in 5 minutes, and then I'm going to start yelling at you again. Thank you. All right, 5 minutes are up. I even gave you guys bonus time because I'm a good guy. But we need to sit down as we get set to honor our final 3 members of the class of 2026. Thank you as you take your seats. I got to nail this next one, all right? So I really need full focus here. All right, here we go. Our final 3 inductees into the 2026 class here at the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Whether for club or country, our next inductee has lifted more hardware than almost any American player. This resume, by the way, sneaky strong. You may not realize it. When you hear it, you're going to have immediate respect. In a 15-year international career. By the way, are we sure this career is over? Because the Hall of Fame can pull this from you. They've done it once before, hey-o. They'll do it again. We're done? We're done. In a 15-year international career that saw her collect 231 caps. 47 goals. Heather O'Reilly, hey-o. Hey-o became one of just 3 women to claim 3 Olympic gold medals, doing so at the 04, 08, and 2012 Olympic Games. In that last Olympic tournament, it was Heather who served up the cross for Alex Morgan's 123rd minute game winner in that semifinal victory against Canada. 2015, hey-o put a little exclamation point on her illustrious international career by helping the U.S. women's national team claim its 3rd FIFA Women's World Cup. We got some Tar Heels in the building tonight. Yeah, this area, I figured. A 2-time NCAA College Cup champion at the University of North Carolina, Heather O'Reilly was just as successful on the club front. In her rookie professional season, it was hey-o who scored the winning goal in the 09 WPS final, helping Sky Blue FC to their first ever title. Later in her career, she helped FC Kansas City win the 2015 NWSL Championship and aided in the North Carolina Courage's back-to-back double-winning seasons in 2018 and again in 2019. Let's look at more of hey-o's journey to here at the Hall of Fame.
Heather O'Reilly, Yavessa, her first international goal with the senior team. Not bad for a senior in high school.
O'Reilly may have sealed the deal for the North Carolina Courage.
She was a competitor, a winner, and her fight and work rate and standard of excellence is someone that I've looked up to and had as a bar in everything I do.
Heather O'Reilly, here comes the cross. Oh, it's in!
Sensational! Tracer Bonnet from Heather O'Reilly.
All smiles for Heather O'Reilly.
O'Reilly! Oh, that is sensational!
USA goal, scored by number 9, Heather O'Reilly.
Not bad, hey-o. Not bad, kid. Please welcome Yael Averbush West, Heather's former women's national team and club teammate, to present her for induction into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Yep.
That's a ridiculous resume, first of all. In my first professional off-season, I got the privilege of training with Heather O'Reilly, or as we know her, hey-o. I was aspiring to be called in with the national team at the time, and she had been a starter for years already and had 2 Olympic gold medals. To me, Heo had the resume that represented the ultimate destination. And yet, I witnessed her pushing for self-improvement in a way that, from my perspective at the time, seemed it should be reserved for the aspiring stars, not the legends. One day, we had planned to do a sprint endurance workout, the 20s, 40s, 60s, 80s, 100s. Definitely a strength of hers and not one of mine. But that morning, Heo called me and she asked if we could push our training start time back a little bit because something had come up. The something was that she had just gotten engaged. I wasn't really sure what the correct etiquette was in that situation, but I was quite sure she didn't need to be doing sprints that day, and she could probably spend the time with her new fiancé. But very Heo-like, she insisted we train. Dave, I'm still very sorry about this situation. Then Dave came to pick her up afterward, and she jumped in the car, covered in grass and sweat, which I'm sure was very romantic, and they went to do the rest of their engagement plans for the day. That day has stuck with me for all these years, because it showed me that even when you've reached the place that others aspire to, the great ones keep doing the work. And that's a big part of why it feels so fitting that we're here tonight inducting Heo into the Hall of Fame. Because when I think about my teammate for life, my training partner, my friend, I don't only think about what she won, I think about how she won. Heo lived every girl's dream, every player's dream, including mine. She made it to the very top of the game, she stayed there, and she kept climbing. Even after years as a starter for the national team, after gold medals and World Cups, she would say, if I get invited into camp, if. That humility wasn't an act, it was a mindset. It was respect for the game, respect for the jersey, respect for the opportunity. She never took it for granted, not one camp, not one training session, not one rep. Heo taught me that success is not a list of accomplishments. It's a responsibility to grow, to evolve, and to elevate the people around you. Heather is an extraordinary competitor because she's not afraid to lose. She's not afraid to fall short. She's not afraid to look silly or look weird. During one national team camp we were at, when Heo must have been well past 150 caps, she was wanting to improve her slide tackling. Pia, the coach at the time, was talking to the team in a huddle before training, and during that time, Heo must have noticed a lone ball about 10 yards away on the side of the huddle. Out of nowhere, during the coach's serious talk, she sprinted at the ball, slid and kicked it away, and then casually walked back into the huddle. And we have video evidence of this. We watched it later. She literally couldn't let that one moment pass without the one rep opportunity to improve her sliding. And I've always loved how Heo isn't afraid to put herself fully out there. That's why she won so much, and that's why she's so loved. Because her impact wasn't just in the goals she scored or the medals she earned. It was in the way she made the people around her better by pushing us all to do the same. Heather represents something bigger than herself. She embodies the very best of what our national team has always aspired to be. She's a culture bearer. In a time when our sport in this country continues to evolve, when the business grows bigger, the spotlight gets brighter, when the expectations grow heavier, Heather represents the values we can never afford to lose. Humility and greatness, joy in the work, standards without ego, winning with integrity. She didn't just represent our country, she honored it. Every sprint, every scissors with the explosive touch to the end line, every selfless run that may not have shown up on the stat sheet, but changed a game. Heather, you left the game better than you found it. You made your teammates better. You made the culture stronger. You showed generations of players, including myself, what it looks like to chase greatness without losing yourself along the way. The Hall of Fame recognizes what you accomplished, but all of us who played with you, coached you, or have been around as part of your journey know something even more important. You're here not just because you were great. You're here because you elevated greatness in others. Heo, thank you for the standard you set. Thank you for showing us that even at the top, the work and the joy never stops. Everyone, please help me welcome to the stage Heather O'Reilly. Congratulations, Heo. You've more than earned this.
Thank you, Yael, for that incredible introduction. It's hard to speak with the lump in my throat now. Just to take a minute to talk about Yael and why I chose her specifically to speak. She's my dear friend and teammate, and she knows me deep at my core and has for a long time. She's been with me in the trenches of elite athletics, and those bonds are unbreakable. Yael, thanks for your service to the game and for showing me since we were teenagers what quiet and steady resilience looks like. I've loved being your teammate, and not only because of those long balls you hit me into space, but because you knew what you wanted and were able to break it into small and methodical steps over a long period of time. Maybe not my strong suit. You were a role model for me in that way. I have loved seeing you and Aaron's up, raise beautiful kids, and we always have that memory of those 1v1s holding our infants. The competition never ends. And now, though, because of those nice words that you just said about me tonight, I think we can get over that time that you were pulled up in age group and I wasn't at New Jersey ODP. Wow, getting that weight off me feels good. I also wanted to thank the National Hall of Fame for putting on such a wonderful event tonight. Being inducted today is an immense honor and one that I face with equal gratitude and awe. Congrats to all the other recipients. A special congratulations to Tobin, the yin to my yang. Being friends and teammates with you through our days at PDA, UNC, and the U.S. Women's National Team is a cherished relationship. We maybe stylistically did it different ways, but the common threads were respect of the game and hard work. Well done, Tobes. So many things ran through my head as I prepared this, the good times, the bad times, the lessons, the really important thank yous. But since my sons, William and Jack, are here tonight, who didn't get to see me play professionally, I want to talk about my career in the context of our 4 family rules. Are you boys listening? I think if you guys follow these 4 family rules, you can live a pretty good life. Our number 1 family rule: no whining, only shining. Now, I wasn't much of a whiner when I started playing soccer at 4 years old in the fields of East Brunswick. I was not a whiner, but I sure was a crybaby. Thank you, Phil Peterson, for being there to carry me off the field when the weight of defeat was too much for my little body. I hated losing and even getting scored on so bad that I would hyperventilate with stress, and the parents of my teammates on the East Brunswick Dynamite started to bring a brown paper bag for me to breathe into. So yeah, I was intense. And thanks, Phil, and thanks to my mom and dad for nurturing that competitive spirit carefully and giving me the space to develop and grow into my talent at a healthy pace. I truly love playing the sport of soccer. Still, Noon Ballers, TST, fam, you know I still love it. And that could have gone a different way, Mom and Dad, without your steadiness. Dad, thanks for the gift of an excellent mix of aerobic and anaerobic capacity. If beep test was the World Cup, well, I'd have more than one, just put it that way. Mom, thank you for the minivan rides all over the East Coast and for always having the Gatorade for me. And I can always find a smile thinking about you wearing my old Nike sweatbands while you do your garden work. To my older brothers, Mike, Steve, and Kevin, Mike and Kevin, thanks for being here. I grew up wanting to impress you. Maybe I still do. It created an early cauldron of desire in me that burned for years. The O'Reilly game face, represent. Later on, that cauldron burned even bolder at the University of North Carolina. Anson and Dino, thank you for ingraining in my brain, quite literally, we had to memorize quotes, that the true joy in life is to be a force of fortune, not just complaining that the world doesn't devote itself to making you happy. You helped me develop an accountability needed to be a champion and made it okay and even desirable to be a little insane about how bad I wanted it. The little girl with the brown bag found others just like her. Okay, boys, the number 2 family rule, work hard. By making my way up the ranks of New Jersey soccer, I found some extraordinary people at PDA. Mr. Anderson, Mike O'Neill, shout outs to Charlie Namo, Sammy, Larry, and all the guys. It's so special for y'all to be here. You saw Tobin and I at very formative times of our life, and I can still picture you on that lawnmower at PDA, Mr. A, the only financier that cuts grass. It impacted our young brains to really cherish this beautiful game and treat it with immense care. At that point, my game was being developed, but so was everybody else's. Tracy Leone and Dr. Colleen Hacker, this is when you came in with the under-19 youth national team. And that team experience truly changed my life and taught me what it was to represent the USA. Dr. Hacker, I can still picture you standing in front of me saying, the elevator to the top is broken, you need to take the stairs. And in the US women's national team, I found my people. The girls and women who thought it was cool to work hard, who had big dreams, and weren't afraid to say them out loud. So thank you to all my teammates on the US national team, the ones that are here tonight, Krieger, Bueller, Casey, Yael, Cindy, Tobin, Press. Thank you guys for making me better. It was an incredible privilege to play with you and play against you all these years. Thank you to all five of the coaches that I played under wearing the US uniform. April, Greg, Pia, Tom, and Jill. Will, Jack, our third family rule, be kind. Soccer, as we all know here, is a wonderful sport that has the potential to bring people together. Flacco, I remember thinking how great it was that this North Macedonian man was coaching this Jersey girl on the Kansas-Missouri line. Those years were important to my journey as I transitioned away from international play. And yes, okay, I know, I have had a few retirements. But when I'm playing, I'm in the flow state. It's one of the reasons I keep coming back for more. Yes, sorry, Jordan, for coming out of retirement right after you named me eligible, which made me ineligible again. But yeah, what can I say? It's a bit of a drug. The connection to humanity that you feel when you are out on the field, it's like your brains and bodies and souls are connected, and it feels good. And it's hard to replicate in other things. And I took so much pride in being a good teammate from whatever role I played. From the days I was scoring hat tricks in high school soccer and called a prodigy, to the seasoned veteran knowing it's time to pass the torch, and everything in between. I tried to pull up things. I tried to pull up and not push down. And it's the plays that I made coming off the bench that bring me some of the most pride, because not everyone can do that. Will and Jack, always be kind and ask people to play. You never know who needs it. Whew. And our last family rule, boys, the good one. Have some fun. That's it. When I retired, I had a really difficult time reconciling with the end. A big part of that dread was not having the locker room anymore. The girls and team had become my family. Growing up, as I mentioned, I had my brothers, but for the next 20 years, those women were my sisters, and we had so many good times. From far too many trips to China and Portugal, to winning Olympic gold medals, to those last-second heroics in those games that we can all recall, to locker room jam sessions. Yes, Eminem's 8 Mile was not a good phase for me. To traveling the world, right side, strong side. Man, it was fun. We just laughed so much. But we always knew it was after accountability, work, and kindness that you could have fun. Boys, always remember to have fun, okay? There's so much joy world. In closing, I wanted to share something personal. When I was a little girl watching the '99 World Cup, I wanted to be Mia Hamm. Didn't we all? And when I was on the national team, I received the great honor of wearing number 9 for my first camp because Mia was injured. And I remember when Mia came back to the team after being out, and I sheepishly thanked her for letting me borrow her number. She deadpanned, looked at me, and said, "It's the team's jersey." And after that, I wanted to do it proud, not to be her, but to be me. Abby Wambach, if you are listening, maybe now we can finally talk about the prank that you said that Nike and US Soccer wanted Abby to wear the number 9, and I broke down in hysterics. It was sacred ground to me, and in my quest to be excellent. You have all helped me be the best version of Heather O'Reilly I could be. Dan, thanks for always advocating for me. And Dave, thank you for loving all the versions and for having my back always. You all shaped me and my career. So now, in a way, you are helping shape my boys with these family rules. And if they truly live them, we are all in for a wild and beautiful ride. Thank you so much for this incredible honor. Woo!
Congrats, AO. Well done. No whining, work hard, be kind, have some fun. Sounds about right coming from you. Sounds about right. I am fascinated, though, about this 8-mile phase. We opened up the show another 10 minutes if you want to elaborate, or should I pivot? Want me to move on? All right, no problem. I can do that for you. Our next inductee set a new standard for goal scoring in Major League Soccer, and he was lucky to get a look from MLS. A couple reasons why. First off, he was a better cross-country runner in high school than he was a soccer player. And as his former head coach with San Jose, Dominic Kinnear, told me this week, after the first day of a college senior combine in the Bay Area that the Earthquakes were putting on, then assistant John Doyle came up and said to Dominic, "Hey, I know this kid who's from around here. He went to Chico State. We should try to get him down here for the last couple days and take a look at him." So this kid arrived. He was the best player there, caught San Jose's eye, and used a late supplemental draft pick on him. Not even just a big boy draft pick, a supplemental draft pick. So after a quiet start after that supplemental draft pick, he only had 7 goals in his first 6 MLS seasons. I don't know, Wando. I don't know if it's going to happen, brother. Hold on. Chris Wondolowski put American soccer on notice back in 2010. He found the back of the net 18 times in 28 matches to claim the first of 2 MLS Golden Boot awards. 2 years later, Wando went even further, matching Rocket Roy Lassiter's 27-goal single-season scoring record set back in the inaugural MLS season of 1996 en route to the Earthquakes claiming the 2012 MLS Supporters Shield. The only player in MLS history to record double-digit goals across 10 seasons. 10 seasons. That deserves a bro. Double-digit goals in 10 seasons. You go to 2019, Wando scored 4 goals in a match to surpass the great Landon Donovan as the league's all-time leading scorer. In his final professional match, 2 years later, Chris Wondolowski finished his incredible 17-year career with his 171st goal. That's a big number, people. That is a big number. A member of USA's 2013 Gold Cup winning side and 2014 World Cup team. Watch now to learn more about the Hall of Fame career of the great Chris Wondolowski.
There's your stoppage time magic for the home team.
Just relentless, always wanting to score, and the game was never safe.
Nice little flag for three. They've come from 2 goals down again. There's the cross in front. Goal! San Jose!
Chris Wondolowski. He's made a name for himself in Major League Soccer.
The captain, Wondolowski.
A lot goes to my teammates because they're the ones who put the ball in great positions to be in the right place, right time.
He's not a guy that's always been at the top, and his competitiveness and his desire to win is what's gotten them to the point.
Hey, Wanda, landing here. What an incredible achievement. Very, very well deserved. You earned this, you deserve it. Welcome to the club.
Goal! 143 for Chris Wondolowski.
Please welcome Chris's brother, Stephen Wondolowski, to present him for induction into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
All right. Most MLS MVPs don't get into fights and arguments and warm up 5v2. My brother Chris does. And if you asked him to chill, he'd probably say, "My bad," and then get right back at it. 171 regular season MLS goals, 11 goals for the US team. Beyond the goals, Chris is who you want on your team and in your locker room. He's a winner and a champion. His whole life, everywhere he played, teams got better. Programs reached new levels. At the professional level, he was part of back-to-back championship teams in Houston and helped restore winning soccer in the Bay Area. Ask those same teammates he battled with, they'll tell you how much he meant and what he brought every single day. I can say that with a little extra pride because I had the opportunity to play with him in Houston as a teammate, and I got to see it up close. If you could design the perfect teammate, you'd still come up short of Chris. Every day at training, every day, he worked, bringing the balls and cones out and the last one back in the locker room. No shortcuts, no coasting. Whether he was starting or fighting for minutes, his efforts never changed. And guys noticed. One of my favorite memories is on competition days with the Dynamo, we'd pick teams. This was before the goals and the starts for Chris. He would get picked early every time by our captains. A lot of times before our star players, MVPs, legends of our game. Why? Because everyone knew what you were getting. Relentless work, unselfish play, someone who made everyone better. And yeah, he scored goals. A lot of goals. Right foot, left foot, head, ugly goals, beautiful goals. I also think the captains picked Chris because they didn't want him on the other team. As John Terry once told Chris, "Your movement is incredible. It's a nightmare for me." That kind of respect, that's earned. And off the field, if you were going out with Chris, you knew two things. One, you were all in. And two, you were probably going to regret it in the morning. Chris's career is a testament to what's possible in American soccer. He wasn't a teenage phenom. He wasn't the biggest. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest. He has a tiny head. He runs funny, an ugly face. I could keep on going. But he is a freak athlete in the ways that matter. Endurance, timing, feel for the game. He could be sharper in the 90th minute than most guys were in the first 5. True Hall of Famers get better over time. Chris improved year after year. Smarter movement, better finishing, more leadership, more impact. Then there's the part that might mean the most, doing it in his hometown. Very few players get to play for their hometown team. Even fewer thrive under that pressure. He wasn't the reason professional soccer returned to the Bay Area, but he was an integral part of why it mattered again. Why kids believed, why fans reconnected, why our community felt proud. And that shows up in the little moments. People come up to me all the time and say, Your brother talked to my kid after a game. I met your brother once, and the story's always the same. He was kind, genuine, and present. That's a legacy. Growing up, we all had heroes, players we watched, people we wanted to be like. And it's pretty incredible to look around and see so many of those people here tonight. But Chris, you belong here. Not just because of the goals and the trophies, but because of the example. You showed what's possible for players who weren't supposed to be superstars. That consistency matters, that professionalism matters, and how you treat people matters. Our family's proud of the career everyone sees, but we're even more proud of the teammate, the brother, the son, the husband, the dad, and the person who never changed. Chris, you earned it, every bit of it. And if there's an after party tonight, I know we're going all in. I love you, man. Congratulations. Welcome to the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Come on up.
Thank you. I'm truly honored and humbled and grateful to be here. Choked up, I thought I was going to get roasted a lot more. It was pretty nice and sentimental, and thank you. But I want to thank the committee and all the voters and Jordan and everyone who put on this event. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it is a dream come true, and thank you for doing that. If you've seen any of my goals, or one or 171 of them, I owe a lot of it to my teammates. Right place, right time, and a lot of work has been put in to make that final play happen. And so today, I would not be here without a whole support system, without a whole support family and group, and I want to use this time to thank a couple of them. Again, Steven, I know his wife, Nikki, you probably heard that speech probably 300,000 times, but again, I thought you absolutely killed it, and thank you. My brother, Matt and Barry, love you guys, thank you guys for coming. In the 1990s, Bob Lee, we were a huge fan. It would be hard done for between the three of us to see more sports centers, especially in the summertime, when they're on loop for each hour, about 3 hours at a time. We could recite them by the end. And the hours, and a lot of smiles, but a lot of tears too, my parents would say, between the brothers and I in the backyard. But those are the memories that stick with me the most. I want to thank my family. I have my mom and Chris, my dad and Joanne. They've helped raise me and guide me and shape me who I am, and so appreciative. I have my grandpa here who is able to make the flight from California, and so many memories of him taking me to donuts as kindergartner. I have my sister Katie. I have, but my mom and dad, I also have my family. I have 4 little ones, and I'm starting to realize the sacrifices it took, and starting to also appreciate the sacrifices that my mom and dad made for me and for my brothers. You're going to soccer tournaments, and that becomes your spring break. That is your family vacations, going to some of these tournaments and experiencing some of those wonderful experiences. Some interesting, sometimes it might be Bakersfield or some other interesting places that you're able to spend those nights. But I've also learned that 8 a.m. games are my personal nemesis, because trying to get your kid out of the door at 6 a.m., shoving an Eggo waffle maybe down their throat as they go down, and driving an hour to a game, middle of nowhere, to go watch. That being said, I wouldn't change it for the world. I love every second of it. And so again, mom and dad, thank you. It means the world, and I wouldn't have done it without you guys, so thank you. The care and support, and then the people that believed in me is why I'm here. And again, so thankful for it. I got to play club growing up, Mustang soccer, so many great memories and teammates and friends and coaches. Got to go to De La Salle High School. They have an amazing football team. Their soccer team's great as well. I promote their soccer as well. But it was an amazing experience for myself. I wasn't a highly recruited athlete. I was actually more recruited for my track and cross country prowess rather than my soccer. And I ended up at Chico State, Division II school. But Mike O'Malley, my coach, he believed in me. He believed in me. I remember driving up I-5. It's an interesting drive. If you don't know, from the Bay Area to Chico, it's a lot of cow territory, a lot of open ground, and I got up there, I fell in love. I fell in love with it though. It was the amazing place. I ended up meeting my wife there, and again, wouldn't change anything for the world. I do also have to, again, for someone that just had the support and belief in me, I also want to give a special shout out to my Aunt Ann. She's my godmother. My brothers and siblings might say she spoils me. She did put me through college, maybe bought my first car. But that being said, I do say she would do every reserve game. I was in Houston, so I was San Jose my first year in 2005, every reserve game. Houston, we were in Houston. We could play, I remember a game against Columbus Crew, and my Aunt Ann, who lived in California, was there. And I played at Chico State, which is about a 3-hour drive from the Bay Area, and she would drive up every Friday and Sunday to watch my Chico State games. And when I was traded back from, I was in San Jose, the whole team moved to Houston. Thank you to John Fisher for bringing the team back. And I was traded, but my wife had just had a new job as a state Texas history teacher in Pasadena over by Houston, and had to leave. So I got to live with my aunt, and not my only aunt I've got to live with, but I've experienced and loved so much, and so grateful for that, and thank you. To the Quakes, who also showed the support and belief in me, thank you. Thank you for drafting me. Thank you for having that belief in me. Dominic Kinnear was a huge inspirational, a huge figure in my growing career. We moved down to Houston. We got to win a Supporters Shield in 2005, win 2 championships in Houston, and really showed me my way. In 2009, I was traded back to San Jose. And again, I'm grateful for John Fisher to bring him back the Quakes in 2008 and to have a home team to play for. It's not a coincidence that that's when my career took off. When I was able to play in front of friends and family and people that I loved and cared about. And for a team I supported. I went to the games when they were at Spartan Stadium. I went to those games and was a diehard, and it meant that much more to me. And so thank you for believing me. It means a lot. I appreciate the role I have now to work with, to do player development and work with the youth. That it's a special game that I think that you can help many different ways. And so thank you, Earthquakes, for that. I have to thank a lot of the coaches. So again, I have to thank Dominic Kinnear, Frank Gallup, who traded me back. He gave me the confidence. I was very concerned. I didn't want to be the guy that made the mistake. I didn't want to be the one that messed up early in my career. I wanted to just fit in, just be good. And Frank Gallup finally told me, he's like, you're here for a reason. You'll make more good plays than bad plays. And if you make a bad play, go try to bust your butt and try to win it back. And I needed that at that moment. And it was a confidence, a belief, and a love that he had. And it helped me grow. It gave me those wings that I need, and to not worry about every single play, every single touch. If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying to do things. You're not trying to make trying to push the envelope. And I need that. I also have a special place in my heart for assistant coaches. So for John Doyle, John Spencer, Steve Ralston, these guys influenced me so much, but also Ian Russell, I think I owe him a new hip. As a 9, we're mentally interesting. I'm just gonna leave it at that, especially superstitious ones. And so if you're on a run, you don't want to mess it up. And so it started off in 2010. He started serving a couple balls. We had a whole routine, and it ended up going well. And so for the next 15 years, he had to do that routine before every game. And it wasn't an easy one. It was driven balls. And again, if you know me, and my dad can relate, because in baseball, I would get mad if he didn't pitch enough strikes. You know, if I had to start chasing stuff for batting practice, and, you know, if the service wasn't perfect, what are you doing? You know, like, I'm right here. I'm open. I'm always open. Even if there's 4 defenders on me, I've always felt I was completely wide open. But again, I want to thank all those assistant coaches who played such an integral part in my development and in my career. Thank you. To every teammate, you've influenced me and shaped who I am, not only on the field, but off the field. Thank you. People have mentioned it before. That's one of the things I miss the most. One, being competitive. I miss just having a full outlet of being competitive. But that also means I just miss the banter and the locker room of just those close friendships. And so it means the world. To my team now, and my favorite team, my family. I have 4 little ones. I have Emerson, I have Brindley, I have Kaysen, and Coleman. And I love driving to every imaginable sporting event or just being an Uber on the weekends. I absolutely love it and love you guys. I love going bowling. I've gotten a turkey, so this is a Rob Stone shout out. I haven't gotten a ham bone yet, and so if any Rob Stone fans, a ham bone, haven't gotten one of those yet, but gotten a turkey. So, but the real captain of my team is Lindsay, my wife. I've known her and been with her since college. She was a all-conference volleyball player at Chico State. And so make sure to congratulate her, because she's more humble than I am and will absolutely be embarrassed rotten. So make sure you give her a great, a great compliment. But she's my rock. I've lived with her more than half my life now, and it's amazing, and love the ride. We've gone from, left you at Chico State, left you in San Jose, left you in Houston, and we've come back. I've loved every second of it. Thank you, and thank you to everyone here. I appreciate you guys.
Wondo, congratulations. Bakersfield catching a stray out of nowhere. Take that, Bakersfield. Yeah. Honestly, if you've been to Bakersfield, oh, too soon? Oh, we got Bakersfield lovers over here. All right. I challenge you. All right. Business is about to pick up as we close down. Team Tobin over here. We ready? Yeah. Let's talk about finishing strong. Here we go. All right, we're going to end the evening by honoring another great champion of the American women's game. A player that from her earliest days approached the game with a style that defied convention. Tobin Heath didn't just play the game, she reimagined it. God damn, you were fun to watch, Tobin. So much fun to watch. Like Heyo right here in front. Did we lose Heyo already? She's gone? All right. Imagine Heyo's here, all right? Like Heyo down there, Tobin was also a winner of 4 different world championship titles with the U.S. women's national team. A 3-time College Cup champion at, where else? The University of North Carolina. Before even beginning her professional career, Tobin had already won a gold medal at the 2008 Summer Olympics in Beijing. 4 years later, at the top of the podium, again, this time in London. Part of the team that finished as runners-up at the 2011 Women's World Cup in Germany, Tobin was a fixture in the U.S. squads that won the next 2 World Cup titles, memorably scoring in the 2015 final against Japan and starting in all but one match in that run to her second Cup win in France 4 years later. On the club front, Tobin made history when she scored what would stand as the game-winning goal in the inaugural 2013 NWSL final. The free kick itself was dazzling. It was made even more so when you consider she hit it with a broken foot. Badass. Certified badass. That was the first of 4 major titles she claimed in the league, helping Portland to the NWSL Shield in 2016, another NWSL championship the following year, and a second Shield with OL Reign in 2022. Let's take a look at a career defined by vision, by courage, and by authenticity.
The crucial first goal from Tobin Heath.
My goal is to change the culture of soccer in America.
She was having fun all the time. I want to play like that.
Tobin Heath gets the party started.
When you think about Tobin Heath, someone so unique and so special that just plays the game in a different way.
That goal right there was 100% Tobin Heath magic.
It's about the creativity. It's about the very best parts of the game. But if you took them and made it into a lifelike form, that would be Tobin Heath.
I've always had a high value on entertaining football. You know, it's how I love to play. And I hope it paints this beautiful picture of how far we've come.
Please welcome Tobin's wife, former teammate Kristen Press, to present her for induction into the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
A year ago, when Tobin announced her retirement, she asked me to write her obituary. Not for her, for the soccer-playing version of Tobin Heath, which I found to be a slightly unhinged request, but also very Tobin, very on brand. Before there was a Tobin Heath brand, there was a game. In 2004, Tobin was a sophomore in high school, playing for the New Jersey Wildcats in the USL W League Championship in Ottawa, Canada. Mr. A brought her there. He already believed. He built an entire world around her before the rest of us caught on. Thank you, Mr. A. On that field was a bigger name player at the time, the one that everyone came to see. And at some point in the match, Tobin megged her. Clean, calm, unapologetic. Not because she was trying to prove anything, not because she wanted to be seen. That's just how she played. And she was seen. That's it. That's the career. Tobin Heath did whatever she wanted on the field. And it just so happened that nobody else could do those same things. When Tobin calls me today, an image pops up on my phone, one a fan drew, of her juggling a soccer ball. It still feels just right, because for about 30 years, the ball never really left her foot. And when it occasionally did, she'd hunt it down so fiercely, so competitively, it scared opponents, sometimes teammates. A game space so intense, you might wonder if she was even having fun. But don't be fooled, she was. What I learned about Tobin early and often is that while she insisted that she played for the love of the game, football was something more. The ball was a lifestyle, an identity, a reason for being. On wet grass fields in New Jersey as a kid, she found escape. She found focus. She found belief. She learned how to dream She learned how to dream looking at an American flag that overlooked the PDA practice fields as she ran fitness, chasing the jersey, chasing her hometown hero, Heather O'Reilly. Thank you, Heyo. She learned how to stay with something long enough to make it real. The pillars of the game became the pillars of her life. When it was time to leave home, the ball brought her to the first group of people who truly understood her at the University of North Carolina. Those damn Tar Heels. They're literally everywhere. 3 national championships later, she left with something even more valuable, a standard. And if you've ever trained with Tobin, you know that standard never left. Thank you, Anson Durrance. Then came the biggest stage, the United States women's national team, the team she joined at just 17, when she was all teeth and calves and just the right amount of cockiness. A team that didn't just win, it changed what winning meant. 2 World Cups, 2 Olympic gold medals, equal pay. A generation that will never question whether women belong at the highest level of sport. And when the game tried to take itself away from her, in true Tobin form, she said no. In 2021, 2 months before the Olympics, she was told her career might be over. She didn't accept it. She went home, rehabbed relentlessly, came back, made the roster, won a medal. And then she kept going to Arsenal Women's Football Club, her childhood dream. And then back to the NWSL to one more game-winning goal against my team, of course. And then the part that people don't see, years in a rehab clinic, being inside instead of out, late mornings, swollen knees, days she could barely walk. No team, because she couldn't bear to be around the game without being able to play it. No timeline, no guarantees, no finish line. Just her choosing every single day to believe that there was still something on the other side. There's no stat for that, no trophy, just will. And in the hardest moments, when the results weren't going her way, Tobin's stubbornness, her steadiness, her unshakable belief, those were just as defining as the victories. But the thing about loving Tobin is, it's not just her brilliance, and she is brilliant both on and off the field. It's the way she brings that same intensity to the smallest, quietest parts of life. You should see her with our dog, Bob. That same focus, that same care, that same refusal to do anything halfway. Tobin Heath knows about winning. She always has. But maybe her greatest contribution was never just winning. It was carrying something forward. A standard, a culture, a belief in what this game could become. And if you still need proof, there's Portland. A city that didn't just watch her play, it believed in her. 20,000 plus people every game, not hoping that women's soccer mattered, knowing it did. Tobin didn't just rise to that moment, she created it. If you go to Portland today, you'll find kids, even dogs, named Tobin. That's not fandom, that's legacy. But what people don't always see is the part that matters most, the text she sends to every single player earning their first cap, still to this day. The hours studying the game when no one's watching. And this one matters. The way that she makes space for others to shine. Because Tobin doesn't just care about being great. She cares about the game being greater when she leaves it. Some players win games. Tobin changed what the game could be. And that never dies. It is with great joy and great honor that I welcome Tobin to be inducted to the National Soccer Hall of Fame.
Oh, good, there's tissues. You know, I think, I thought that the hardest part about this night was going to be what you pair with a bright red blazer. But I was clearly wrong. I am not known for tears at all, so this is a little foreign to me. And probably to speaking as well. Shout out Aaron Heifetz. If anybody knows Aaron, he's been around the national team before. The national team was probably even officially a national team. And Aaron Heifetz was my first introduction in media training. So he's here today, so I hope that I will do him proud. There's a lot of common themes around here. One that I most recently learned was with Chris Wondolowski. No, it wasn't a common theme of goals. That wasn't really my thing, Chris, although I could score a couple. But we both have a sister named Katie. Who knew? Who knew? That's pretty cool. But speaking of family, I am really lucky. I'm one of 4. I have 2 older sisters. And parents that actually, you know, they gave me no reason not to be great in terms of my athletic ability. There was nothing I really didn't have. And yes, of course, you have to work hard with what you've got. But honestly, between my mom being a 3-sport athlete in college, before that was like even a thing for women athletes, to my dad on the tennis court slamming the racket in the same way I slammed the soccer ball, I always was inspired by it. I loved watching my parents play sports. They still play sports today, which was really cool. It's a part of my family, and if you ever played competitive sports with my family, you know that we all like to compete, and we are from Jersey, so we all like to shit talk too. And for people that have come into the family, it like makes them a little uncomfortable. They're like, should we stop? Like, this is getting a little out of hand. And we're like, this is when it gets good, you know? Like, we might not shake hands after, but like, we're gonna end up at the meal together. And then for those that know how difficult it is to stay on the national team, there's a lot of reasons. One, it's probably one of the most competitive sports girls play in this country. So there's a lot of people coming for your spot. But also, it's a hard lifestyle, really hard. I mean, it's gotten a lot better now, probably. But at the time, you know, we had these things called roommates. And, you know, I really have to thank my sisters. I had 2 older sisters, so going into camp and being the younger player, obviously I was going into a lot of camps, similar to Heyo at a young age, where we were always kind of like the younger player on the team. So that was always familiar to me, you know, having older sisters. But the thing that I think really helped me, if I would say, beyond the football, you know, everything, was actually rooming with my sister Perry. Because if I could room with my sister Perry, I could room with anyone in the world. And I did. I am proud to say that in my whole time on the national team, there was this thing, and I don't know if many people have heard about it. If you're kind of in on it, you know, that there's a there's a yes and no list in rooming. And you know, it's supposed to be like a secret. You hand it in, and you have people that you'd like to room with, and people that wouldn't mind rooming with. And for me, what I'm most proud of is that I never once submitted a yes or no list. I was cool rooming with whoever. So as you can imagine, I got quite the characters, but none of them were like my sister Mary. Okay, now that I got the uncomfortable giggles out to get past my emotions. This is really an honor. I don't know if you all saw the video that was played earlier when Cindy from New Jersey surprised me. I don't know if there has ever been something that has meant more, to be honest. I love football. I don't know. I don't know if there's anyone that loves it more than me, to be honest. I don't know if there's anybody that it means more to than me. And no, it's not about playing for the national team. It's not about winning. It's deeply personal. I met a soccer ball when I was 4 years old, and honestly, I don't know. Maybe people have felt this way in other things in life, maybe even in football, but immediately I knew what I was supposed to do in life at 4 years old. It was cool, too, because my parents had no idea. They had nothing to do with soccer, you know. They were amazing supporters, but that's not what it was about. There was almost like a connection. You know, I was a quiet kid. I played a lot by myself, and what a football gave me is it gave me my greatest companion. It gave me a reason for being. It gave me my imagination. So much of my career, the way that I played, the artistry, everything, that doesn't happen in practice. You know, that happened in the life I lived around football. My brother can attest to this. I played nonstop. There's always a ball. There's still always a ball somewhere. And my brother, who actually didn't even play, was probably my greatest opponent. And, you know, I could level the playing field against anyone. It wasn't about, you know, getting someone that was of equal skill level or anything to play with me. It was about just the act of playing. And so we would set the stage, right? Like my goal would be smaller, more obstacles, smaller space, all these things. I could make an opponent out of anyone. I could make an opponent out of my imagination. I was fixated with the ball. I was fixated with this idea that you could have in a relationship with something that became second nature. I could imagine that this is something that happens when, you know, an artist or a painter picks up a paintbrush for the first time, and they're looking at that canvas and they're thinking, what could I do with this? I love the idea of a blank canvas, and for me, that was a football pitch. And I will be the first to say, I am not the first to play the way I did, the artistry, the creativity. I am convinced I am not the first to do some things. Some things I will take credit for, but I saw, because there wasn't any visibility, right? I know for a fact that there were amazing women that I would have loved to have been inspired by. But that's not the world I grew up in. The world I grew up in is, even for an American girl, actually even for an American boy at that time, football was hard to find. It was hard to find. So for me, I fell in love with the artistry of the game, the things that attracted me, the way that I want to play, and then I would try to emulate it. And that was the story of my career. But there's a tension to the art, and that's the winning. And when you play for the U.S. Women's National Team, and all of the teams actually I've been privileged to play for, that winning was a tension, but a tension that I enjoyed because I was also a deep competitor. But the greatest competitor that I felt like I had was actually my relationship with the game and with myself and wanting to get better. We talk about representation and why it's important that we can see what we want to become. I grew up in Jersey, which I feel like that was a blessing in itself, a hotbed for girls soccer. I literally had Heather O'Reilly as my example right there. I could literally see her, I could touch her. She was doing the things that I wanted to do. And heyo, I had a shrine in my room. I actually had never seen a shrine so like the one in my room until I actually went to Lindsey Horan's room. That chick has something going on with Messi. Something's going on with Messi. But Heather O'Reilly was in my closet, which was a little weird. There were things everywhere, okay? It wasn't like there was just one thing. But Courier News, shout out to the news. Courier News, and our journalists, not the news, our journalists. Heather O'Reilly was in my closet. I remember the Courier News, it was when she was a teenage sensation on the national team. She was the number 9 as a high schooler on the U.S. women's national team. That was my role model. And I remember cutting out the article, coloring a backdrop on it, and pasting it on my wall. That's what I looked at. That's what I aspired to be. Like, I can't ask for a better role model. And no, we are opposites. We're yin to the yang. But in terms of like wanting to see the path that I needed to take to get to where you were, it was right in front of me. And Anson, come on, man. Like, this is just getting ridiculous. Like, with our president, Cindy, I'm so proud of you. It is so cool to see what, I mean, I feel like in a way Tar Heels have an unfair advantage because it's almost like that was the hardest part, right? The competitive cauldron, that was the hardest part and the most fun part. But there is something in the DNA of being a Tar Heel that is a bond, and it goes beyond football. It goes to sisterhood. It goes to this unwavering identity, belief, and I feel so lucky to have been part of that program. And to Mr. A, who honestly was the first to believe in me, that built PDA. Everybody knows PDA? We were the first team. We were PDA. One team, one guy, one vision for what women's football could be. And I'll say, I really feel like our generation will be defined by really good men that really believed and really invested in women. But this next generation will be, and the future of women's sports and women's football, will be dominated by women. Women coaches, women referees, women board members, women owners, everywhere. That is the future of women's sports. But our generation, was the belief before, and it takes a couple good guys, right? It takes a couple good guys. There were a lot of bad actors, but it took a lot of bad actors. But it took a lot of good guys. Finally, I will just say, I don't know what exactly or why exactly or how exactly I got here. But I will say that I had a vision of equality that looked like equality on the pitch, where like a women's football could be the first inspiration for something, not the second inspiration for something. And the way that I tried to play was to elevate what was possible for women as footballers. And while doing that, I realized that there was so much more. And when I was listening to Carrie, I was like, you know, we're all called to a version of this to kind of like push the game a little bit further. And for me, when I look at where the game is now, the players that I love to watch, the performances on the field, like I am inspired, and I can't wait to continue giving back to this game. I'll finish by saying, and this is not to be too morbid, but I told Kristen when we first started dating that I thought I was gonna die young. I know it's a weird thing to say. Like, I just always had this feeling like, I don't know, maybe some other people have had it. But like maybe it was my reckless nature or this idea that like, you know, live fast, go for it, you know? But I had this sense, and when kind of football was taken from me, like, I realized that was a death. And it seems strange, but I didn't know myself without being able to play football. And I want to thank my wife, Kristen, because, you know, it was a hard time to figure out what was next. And I think through that grief, what I realized is I'm actually given so much more. I'm actually not defined by one team or one crest or one club. Like now, what I can give to the game is beyond anything I could do as a player. As a player, I was almost limited to what was possible. I sure do miss playing. But what I will say is that I am so happy to be alive. And I am so happy to be able to spend the rest of my life and everything that I have to give back to this beautiful game and push it even further. Thank you.
Tobin Heath, everybody. Tobin, congratulations. Beautiful speech. So, you guys made it. We did it. We inducted a class. You stayed up. Everybody's here. Everybody's happy. That ends our program. On behalf of the National Soccer Hall of Fame, thank you all for joining us tonight as we honor this incredible class of 2026. At this time, though, real quick, a few people still have some responsibilities. We ask all of our Hall of Famers and our Colin Joe's Media Award winners, please come up to the stage, join us for a group photo. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support of American soccer, and enjoy the rest of your evening and your weekend.